Welcome back.
Welcome
everybody.
back, guys.
You might notice. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You might notice that we upgraded our studio.
Yeah, we're
Shout
going
out
for a
to-
much more serious tone now. As you can see, it's very noir in here, very mellow.
Very sleepy.
Yeah. What's the name? Man, he just told me the name. Who edited this
Soundshed.
Yeah, shout out.
Soundshed Studio.
Yeah, for letting us borrow because we're not at our usual studio. We're in Austin, Texas. Wait, this is
We're rolling.
Soundshed.
Oh, Soundshed.
Yeah, that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Soundshed.
That's what he said, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Soundshed.
Coming at you from Soundshed in Austin. Today's guest, Mr. Rob Iler.
Right?
That's right.
Okay, yeah, Robert Iler.
Yeah,
Wait,
thanks
you
for
prefer
having
Rob
me,
or
man.
Rob-
No,
Rob or
I don't
Rob?
care. It's
Yeah,
all the
okay.
same to me.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of FatFish Podcast. What's up? Can we get one from me?
What's up?
That's crazy.
No, man. We got Robert.
Trying not to fanboy right now, bro. Saving a lot of these questions till we started rolling.
Here's-
Which also, my I feel like the most important question I have for you before we get started is like, are you? And obviously, this is totally like cool if you are, but are you at all like, all right, I'm tired of Sopranos questions. Let's talk about other shit.
I mean, it depends what people ask. Like, if somebody asks the same basic shit, but then like sometimes people ask stuff, and you're like, oh, I haven't thought about that in 20 years, and it's interesting. But like, it definitely depends. You know, there was this guy who was on Sopranos named Max Casella, and he was on Doogie Howser. You know the show Doogie Howser?
Oh, I've never seen it.
So Doogie Howser is like, I don't know how old it would be now, like 40 years old or whatever. And he was the kid on that show. And I remember somebody asked him, like, when we were just starting Sopranos or whatever, they're like, oh, you must be sick of talking about Doogie Howser. And he's like, well, that's why I have a house. You know, he's like, so I'm not sick of, like, I have a nice life. Like, we were talking before this, and like, you know, I don't really have a real job. And that's thanks to Sopranos. So like you were talking, like, I get to play poker, I have a podcast, so like, yeah, it's hard for me to ever look back at it bad. And like, I'm still friends with a bunch of my friends from there. So it's always good. But there's some times where people say stuff and you're like, talk about this.
Because there's got to be I mean, I don't know if you've ever felt this, but like, don't you ever feel like you wish there was maybe like a limit or like a point where you can reach where you're just like, all right, finally everybody who's gonna ask this certain question has already asked it. Like you want to be done with a certain amount of questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And especially questions when like I don't know the answer, because like, I never watched the show. So a lot of people ask me shit, and I'm like, I have no idea.
Do you watch anything that you've acted in?
I mean, same with Soprano. Like I didn't act for a long time, and then I just actually have a show coming out on Netflix today. Like Tom Segura, I did a show for him, and so like when you go to the screening, you watch it. You know, so like I've seen stuff that I'm in, but I never like sit down and I'm like, honey, it's time to watch me. You know, like that shit.
It's weird, right?
I could never. I hate that shit.
I've been doing stand-up like 9 years, and I'll watch my set only when I'm editing to like upload a clip of my stand-up. But other than that, like I don't want to watch it.
Are you able to be like, oh, that was good, or are you always like,
Maybe like years later. Like somebody brought up a clip one time to me, like they're like, yo, this is the first clip I saw of you, and it was like an old clip. And then I was like, I was good then.
Yeah.
But that was about it. Other than that, I'm like, I don't want to see it. I always feel like this.
I feel that way with like, I'm always, you know, chasing now. Like I told you, I'm sober now and shit, but like working out and trying to be like lean and healthy and this. So like whenever people show me shit, I'm like, man, I was fucking healthy right there. Like even just if I'm like, oh, I had a fucking whatever today, like, you know, like I had a bread today or whatever. Like I see a clip from, so even if it's 2 weeks ago or like 2 years ago, I'm like, man, I look healthy right there. You know, I'm always chasing that, you know.
I've been within the same 10-pound range for like the last 10 years. Like I've never gotten over 10 pounds or less than 10. But I always look at old pictures and I'm just like, I was so skinny, but I was like a pound skinnier.
Yeah. That's the thing. You're just like, oh, I had a piece of bread today and I feel like shit. But like I look at a picture from 2 years ago, I'm like, man, I look lean. Like, you know, I bet I was disciplined right there.
It's different. I think for actors though, like number one priority for me is like, was I funny though?
Yeah,
for that
yeah.
feeling. I feel like with actors, you guys a big thing for you guys is just like the appearance.
But I haven't acted in 20 years, so
Oh, that
I
too.
can't blame
Yeah.
it on like one time. I remember one time I was in the gym and I was wearing gloves, and like this guy was like, "Oh, well, I get why you're wearing gloves. You're an actor." And I was like, "I haven't acted in 20 years. I'm just a fucking
I'm a hand
like
model, bro.
yeah. I'm like, I just don't want to get fucking fucked up
But,
hands
yeah.
because like I mean, not to go crazy, but like when I first started going to the gym, like it would hurt to jerk off because you get
You get a callus
you get these
or-
calluses
Oh,
here
yeah.
and you don't know. You think you have your old hands and like you go to grab you and it fucking hurts
Bro, you
sometimes.
gotta jerk off through it. Real gym guys jerk off through the pain,
I know that. Well, that's I a few times I had to, and I was like, "This is not as pleasurable." I was like, "This is not I don't
Yeah.
look forward to jerking off anymore."
I like to imagine I'm getting a hand job from like a gym girl. Like,
Oh, yeah.
really, like she's
Yeah.
a power lifter.
Yeah. You get you work out a lot.
I started to in the last few months.
Oh, so you recently jerked.
Yeah.
You're just recently getting
I'm
hand jobs
recently-
from
yeah.
powerlifting women.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I've
Fresh
just been the
cuts on my
same.
penis.
I've
Nice
been the
and
same.
soft.
So
Nice and
I don't
soft
work
hands for
out.
you. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll borrow your hands when we
Oh,
need.
yeah, you could.
His hands are very soft,
Um,
enjoyable.
We did. I was texting with him and he wanted a bottle of champagne and
We're supposed to bring you a bottle of champagne.
Well, you should read the text to make because he's like, is there? I forget what he asked, but he's like, is there anything you would like? Sir? I'm like, I don't fucking.
Wait,
but
you
I'm like,
understood Jaime's text messages?
no, I said
well, I've seen clips of Jaime. I've seen him on Tiger Belly and so I knew, I know about Jaime. So I was like, all right, I was like, I could be a little loose here, and I was, yeah, what?
I was like, is there anything you're not comfortable talking about that we should be aware? And also, Ralph's a major Sopranos fan. I just thought he should know.
Okay.
And he's like, yes, I don't like to talk about anything silly, only serious stuff, please. Also, you can have some sort of champagne there when I arrive. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Don't text back. And he's like, oh, I was like in the toilet.
yeah, I could tell. When you see the bubble come up and go away, come up, go away, and then after like 10 times, it was just the thumbs up on the message.
I was like, oh my God.
You
I
know,
don't
play it safe.
I don't know what to say. And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. We can talk about anything. I seen your stuff and you're hilarious, guys.
Yeah, I was like, I was trying to think of the worst thing I could say to ruin the vibe.
That would
was
have
like-
freaked me out if I would have got that message.
Yeah, he was
You're
like,
right.
that's what he wrote back. He said, good, because I don't think we were prepared for that.
Yeah, I was like,
I would have canceled, bro.
Yeah,
I would've been
rightfully
like,
so.
We can't make it.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I was already thinking about Ralph. He's like, yeah, this is gonna be awkward.
Wanted to talk about serious shit over champagne.
How long have you been sober?
I mean, I consider it like 12 years. I stopped drinking and doing hard drugs like 12 years ago. But then I was still hooked on like hard drugs like Xanax and Percocet. But that took like a year and a half for me to wean off of the Xanax. So it really was 12 years ago when I stopped. But technically it would be like 10 and a half when like I took my last fucking Xanax. Because you got to weaning off Xanax, as we were talking about earlier, is the fucking worst.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
Well, you don't look 40, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like we're the same age, but I don't know why I thought we were. Like,
How old are you?
I'm 28,
Eight.
but
Alright,
yeah,
wow.
like I think it's just from
That-
watching
That feels good.
Sopranos late. You know what I mean? Like I saw Sopranos when I was a teenager. Like
Yeah.
finally, like all the way through. I see it on TV every now and then as a kid, but I didn't really get what was going on. I was younger, but as a teenager was when I finally like watched it, and I really got hooked on the show through your character first.
Oh yeah.
Because as a teenager, I related to like AJ a lot. I was like this young, kind of like spoiled kid with my own issues, but I was also being raised around like crime. Like my family was heavy into like drugs and like moving drugs and stuff. So like as kids, like I grew up with like everything I wanted.
Wow.
Like everything. But the episode that like got me was when AJ finds out that his dad's in the mob and they're at the funeral at the end, and Tony winks at AJ. My uncle used to wink at me like that all the time, and he was like the main one like taking care of our whole family. And I remember finding out like how he's taking care of us, and it just being this kind of like fucking I don't know, feel like my world went upside down. You know what I mean? 'Cause now I'm like worried about this dude all the time.
Holy
But-
shit.
So yeah, so that now I'm older and I have a kid, and I feel like I relate to Tony where I'm yelling at my son all the time.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's why it was like surreal meeting you. It was like, holy shit, like I'm not that your AJ, but you know what I mean. Like
Oh, of course.
you fucking did a hell of a job on that character, man.
Thank you very much, man. Yeah, it was. That's the thing. Like, I didn't act after that because, like, I remember like there were 1 or 2 times where my manager would call me and he'd be like, you got to do jury duty, and I'd be like, I'll do anything to get out of jury duty. Like, you tell me what I got to do. He's like, I can get you an episode of like Law and Order or like something, and I'd be like, okay, like get me the episode. So you call me back and be like, okay, I got you the episode. I sent it to jury duty. You don't have to go. You just do this episode or whatever. And I'm not shitting on Law and Order, or Law and Order is great, but it's just you went there and you were like, oh, this isn't what Sopranos was. Like, everybody would do their shit and then kind of go away to their campers or do their thing. They were kind of like it felt like a business where when we were doing Sopranos, it felt like a family. Like,
Yeah.
you go to like Jim would have his camper door open. You could go in here. Like, I remember like I had a problem with like shitting places. He'd be like, shit in my trailer. Like, go shit in my like stuff like that. Where today, like, you see these other shows and people like everybody thinks they're hot shit, and it's just a we were, and everybody was from New York, which helped. Like, you hear a lot of problems in shows like in LA where people like fight over like whose camper's bigger, or even if they get the same size camper, they'll be like, yours was parked closer to the set.
Damn.
So you didn't have to walk as far. Like, people are crazy because they're just so used to like
The lifestyle.
Yeah. So then they, or they're mad at the people because they wrote something they didn't like or this. So then they take it out on them, and you're just like, yo, what the fuck? Like,
dude, that's a big reason why I also never moved. When comedy started taking off for me, and I'd go spend time like in LA for like a week or something, just for shows or whatever. You meet a lot of other comedians, and I couldn't help but start to compare like opportunities they were getting versus I was getting, and then I start to feel like this rush or like this kind of competitiveness. But then I was like, I had to kind of like catch my breath. I'd fly back here to Texas, and I'd be like, "What the fuck was going on with me back there?" Like, dude, I gotta like, there's enough for everybody,
yeah, you get caught up. It's a fucking weird like. I don't know what it is about it. It's like the whole thing is fake anyway. Like, it's all like
It's all imaginary.
Yeah, and even like your job is to play pretend, and then people make it seem like it's such a big, oh my god, like it's this big deal, and you're like, you're reading fucking words off of a paper playing pretend, and like, to me, I did an interview for Tom's show recently, and the person was like, what was your what do they call it, like not your procedure, but what do they say, like when you're getting into a
your
role?
process.
Yeah, and they're like, what was your process to get into this role? And I was like, yo, I can't even give you an answer for that. Like, there's like 3 people in the world who I think they should be able to answer that. You know what I mean? Like, there's like 3, like Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, if he wants to talk about his process, it's like, all right. Like, there's a few people, but like some fucking guy on like some show that no one's watching talking about his process it's like, yo, get the fuck. It's just, it's painful. And like, it's also, I have the like benefit of, I started work when I was 6, but like Sopranos when I was 12. So 28 years ago, I have the ability to look back and know what happens. And like, you say shit and you look back 10 years later and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I was such a douche. Like, I'm in Tom's show doing like comedy, and then and like it was a New York Times article, and for me to be like, or LA Times, for me to be like, well, my process started in the morning when I woke up, and you're just like, you see that later and you're like, oh my God, like shut the fuck up, So now I've been around for almost 30 years. I know I'm like, I can't answer that,
Yeah.
but I'm not being rude to you. I can't. I'm not that guy.
It took me like a year of just having some attention on me. Not that I got like the same amount of attention, but just whatever attention I got. It took me like a year to realize like I was saying some shit that I'm just like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and that's what I try to tell Jaime sometimes too, because Jaime got into comedy way later, way after me. But because he, this dude shines on podcasts, you know what I mean? And he got like a lot of attention really quick, and sometimes it'll go to his head.
Yeah.
Oh, how does it go to his head?
Like, I drink iced matcha lattes now.
Wow. That's pretty bad.
He'll just start wanting to like steal the show everywhere we go. Like, he's always on,
Oh.
and he'll catch himself But I was telling him, I was like, Jaime, I was like, I feel like as entertainers, we're all kind of like animals at the zoo. And I was like, next time you're feeling cocky or you're feeling like you're doing something that nobody else can do, I want you to remember that as like comics, stand-up comics who aren't even like that big, by the way, we're like, our exhibit is more like donkeys, like jackasses. Like we're like jackasses who can do tricks.
Yeah,
Like, we're
yeah.
not a tiger. We're not lions. Like,
Yeah.
and I think back, like when you say Daniel Day-Lewis, like every time I'm feeling myself, I think about like serious actors, and I'm like, all right, I'm not doing anything Oscar worthy here. Like, fucking calm down. You know?
Yeah. And even like, like talking about like being healthy, it's like I can't not eat something sweet after I eat. These guys are like starving themselves for 6 months to fit a role, like to look a certain way, and even that, like before they get on camera, and then like I would never do some shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't have it. I'm like, this is dumb. Like, yeah, my brain just goes like, this is dumb. Like, probably because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So it just goes like, oh, this is stupid anyway. You know?
Guys with like six packs, they like live this whole other tortured lifestyle,
Yeah.
and their six packs are on screen for like 10 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
Blue Chew.
Have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. These erection-enhancing tablets help men achieve stronger, harder, and longer-lasting erections for sexual activities.
Guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of Blue Chew free.
Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days.
Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door.
The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy.
Man, I gotta tell you, Ralph, I was with this chick, and Blue Chew had me rock solid as my microphone.
I thought I was gonna have a good time and get lucky, and so I had a Blue Chew, and didn't ended up happening. But I was glad that I was prepared, and instead of not being prepared, I'd rather have it on me than and not need it than to need it and not have it. Blue Chew, make life easier by getting harder, and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners.
Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use promo code FATFISH. Just pay $5 in shipping.
That's promo code FATFISH. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
My friend, I have very few friends who are actors, but they're all just from Sopranos. And my one friend, he wanted to have a six pack for this role, and he was just eating sweet potatoes every day for like a month, and he was so miserable. And then the show he didn't come out.
God,
Yeah, so he's just like, yo, I was miserable for a month for this thing that no one ever saw except for me, and like the people editing it. You know?
Jaime tried working out in case he ever like wanted to do acting, but he walked on the treadmill for like 30 minutes. After that, he was like, I'll just play the fat guy.
Yeah, I was so tired.
Well, treadmill sucks. First of all, treadmill's the worst. You got to start lifting. You're a big guy. Yeah, we get you lifting. Hell yeah.
Get you on steroids, bro.
Oh, lean.
Yeah, because you know what's really like sick about the gym for me with like my mental state was like when I first went into the gym. I remember there was a gym in my building and they had like a set of dumbbells and it was like it went up to 50, and I remember like grabbing the 35-pound dumbbells and like trying to grab the 40s to like bench press, and I was like, oh, I can't do that. So I was like, I'll just do the 30s, right? But like I remember my head being like, I can't do that, and then a month later I could, and then 2 months later you could do the 45, and then you're doing the 50, and then so like instead of living in that place where like people are always like, oh, you want to do this thing, and you're like, I can't do that. Like your brain shifts a little when you think of like I can't do shit, and you're like, maybe I could do that, I don't know, or like maybe if I tried or whatever, because I used to just like do drugs and fucking say I can't do anything. You know, I would just fucking sit on my couch all day and just fucking I did anxiety. Bro, and
how old were you when you feel like you started getting into like a heavy amount of drugs?
I mean, I started smoking weed and drinking when I was like 12 and like cigarettes and shit, but it was still like whatever, fun and cool. And then like maybe around 16 it started to get a little more aggressive. By 18, like I was doing coke every night, I was fucking drinking every night, and then my hangover started to get so bad that I started doing Percocets. And then I started getting anxiety, so I was taking Xanax, and then it just like all of it, I would always like separate. Like I wouldn't drink and take Xanax because I knew like you do it once and you're like, nah, I'm good on that. Like that shit is just like horrible. But you just like, yeah, you start to realize like I'm in this like cycle now and there's no stop. It's like a roller coaster going on its own, and you're just like, yeah, I gotta take this stuff to keep up just to feel normal now. I was taking like 15 Percocets every day, and I wouldn't even be like all fucked up. I would just be normal.
Did you get mad at anybody around you for not like stopping you or like
No,
no?
because that's the same shit with like working out. Like I remember before I started working out, I remember people would be like, oh, you should come to the gym with me. I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go to the fucking gym with you. And then the friends who I had who like really pushed you, I'd start to get mad at them and be like, yo, what, like, but I did have friends who were like, yo, if you ever want to like, it's good to like put that hand out to be like, yo, if you ever want to work out, you come with me. Or like, if you ever want to stop drinking, you talk to me. And like, that's the way you do it. But if you try and push on somebody, like somebody's like, I don't want to do that. And you're like, I'm going to push on you. It starts to, for me, it would build like resentment towards people.
Should
like,
I stop pushing you to work out, Jaime?
Maybe.
Sure,
I think I'll stop. I think if you stop, I think everybody stops around me. I'll just start working out.
I doubt
Show
it.
off.
But you're still young, right? How old are you?
29.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
late.
you don't start feeling like shit. It's coming up, but like you start, like realizing where like, oh, I ate fucking, drive through yesterday, and now I feel like shit. Or like,
I start feeling it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like 25. I didn't even know like, I didn't even associate like food with the way that I felt.
I feel like it's only gonna get worse now.
Oh, for sure, it doesn't get better. Yeah, it doesn't get.
We just had fast food twice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's just bad out of
We had
boredom.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that's tough. Eating like that's what happened. I don't know when it happened. Like sometime in the last 30 years, like people started eating for entertainment. Where you're like, I don't know what.
Yeah, we just had a hot dog
No.
eating contest on the last episode.
Yeah, I heard some of that. Yeah, I listened on the
7
way
hot
here.
dogs, champ.
Yeah, you
6.
couldn't do better than. Wow, really? You let him get you?
I told him the
I
thing
was-
is though is that he exerts no like
Hard labor.
physical energy. Yeah, like no
Right.
hard labor, nothing. That day, I think I was with my buddy Luis and we were rearranging his garage and like pushing cars that wouldn't start. So like I worked up an appetite,
Yeah, you got that man hunger.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I was just walking around.
yeah. You got that
Yeah.
boy hunger.
I didn't eat all day that day because I thought if I didn't eat today, I'll just get hungry later. But
Yeah, I think you got to do if you do want to work out again, you should do something other than like walking, running. That shit sucks. Like because it's the same thing over and it doesn't like change. Where
That's what Kiki was telling you. Lift weights with us, and you were like,
Yeah.
"Nah, I'm good. I'm on the treadmill."
yeah, the treadmill sucks. Or you know what you do? We'll give you like a kettlebell and you walk on the treadmill. Give him like a 30 pound kettlebell and you walk
don't
on the
give him
treadmill.
ideas, please.
Yeah. That's a good move.
He don't want to work out, man, but that's all good. Maybe
Oh,
yeah.
one day.
Well, our next thing we're doing a wing challenge, eating challenge.
On the podcast,
I guess.
I guess.
it's gonna be
That
tough
was
with
a
the
dumb
hands.
idea, but now that you said it, people aren't gonna leave us alone.
See, hot dogs are better because you could really measure how much somebody ate. Where like with wings, I'm not cleaning the bone on like the two bone.
No, we gotta clean the bone if we do a wing eating contest.
Who you think can eat more wings?
Well, he said he's doing the man. Are you gonna start? If you start working out, I'll say you. But until then,
You gonna switch up that quick, Rob Iler?
No, man.
depends what he's pushing around. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start. He probably lift. He probably get big quick.
This man will not live.
No,
You could hold a gun to his head and to
I'll
somebody's
lift
head.
if there was a gun to my head.
it happens though. That's what my friend said about me. The same thing he's saying about you. 15 years ago. You could pull up pictures of me from Sopranos where I'm fucking 200 pounds. Like I was always like, nah, I'm never gonna work out, never gonna do shit. And then it just something clicks where you're like, oh, this felt really good. And then you start chasing that shit.
Yo, you were in Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
Bro, did you have to audition for that part? Or did they
No.
just give you the part?
Somebody who did Sopranos was like had a job on there, and they're like, hey, there's this role, like, do you want to come do it? I was like, all right.
You were a mean ass bully, bro.
Yeah, that's the only time I think in my life I wore like the shirt with no sleeves. They
Yeah.
have you wear a shirt with no sleeves, and I remember being like, oh, this isn't worth it. Like, I was like, I'm gonna be on a big screen somewhere with these fucking flabby
How old were
arms.
you?
I don't know. I'd be guessing 2021. I would
For real?
maybe even less. Maybe like
Yeah?
18. Yeah, I don't know what year
2003.
that came out in 2003. I was 18, so I
So
probably
you've
filmed it
always
when I was
looked
17.
really young, huh? You didn't look 17 on there. You looked way younger.
Yeah, I was always it's that Irish baby face, And then like some people believe like when you're doing a lot of drugs, you like freeze in time, you know? And I was but also from, 13 or 12, whenever I stopped playing sports up until 30, like I wasn't physically exhausting myself at all, like ever. I wasn't doing anything. I was just fucking doing drugs. That was it. Like I told you, I went to Vegas for 2 weeks. I stayed for a year and a half.
What is your family like? What are you doing?
Yeah, I just kept telling them, like, I'll be right back. Like, I'll come back in a month. But also, like, not that my family couldn't tell me what to do, but they, like, in one season of Sopranos, I was making more money than, I grew up poor as fuck. Like, so.
I was going to ask you that too, like, because you were a child actor. So how did you get into acting?
So my manager saw me when I was walking down the street with my dad.
That is insane. That story already started off insane.
And he's like, oh, he should be an actor. And then he gave his card to my dad. And like, he was a gay guy. And this is like, 35 years ago. My dad's like a, kind of tough guy. My dad was like, what the fuck is this guy? Like, yeah, like he was like, my son, what? Like, and then when he gave the card to my mom was like, yeah, he should be an actor. Like, because back then, acting was like, being famous meant something, like if you get a role somewhere, you're getting paid. Like you do one fucking commercial, you're making a ton of money. Now it's like
back then the industry had to choose you. Now it's like, can you go viral?
100%. Yeah. So and now like, I feel like then they weren't looking for ways not to pay you, where like people in this industry now are just looking for like, how could we make something cheap? And then it was like this glamorous kind of thing where they were like, yeah, you're chosen, and you're like, oh my God. So I started working when I was 6, and then a bunch of shit happened in my life. Like I broke my arm, my grandma died, this, or like I got taken out of it for a few years, and my manager would call every few months like, is he ready to come back? And then finally I went back and got Sopranos.
Dang. Did you have the same manager from back
Still
then?
Today, yeah.
Still today?
Yeah.
Damn.
Like 35 years. Great guy. Yeah. He's
married?
Huh?
He's married?
Is he married?
Yeah, because he was.
I was looking.
No.
Yeah. Oh, because I said he was gay?
No, I'm not gay, but I'm pretty sure he's married now, right?
I think he's married to a gentleman. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Good for him.
I know he's got a boyfriend for sure.
Oh, okay,
I don't know if he's married or not, but
it's usually how the podcast goes. I bring up the topics, Jaime asks the hard-hitting questions that everybody wants to know.
Is there like a commercial out there that you did and we can't see?
Yeah, did you start off with commercials then?
I started off with commercials. I did a bunch of I did like AT&T, Pizza Hut. What else did I do? IBM. I did some good ones. And then and I did Saturday Night Live. I did a sketch on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, shit.
That's sick.
Yeah, just did like a bunch of stuff, having fun. I did a movie. Rosie O'Donnell was hosting.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then who else was? I don't know if Will Ferrell. It was like I think the Will Ferrell days. Then Whitney Houston was the artist.
Damn.
Yeah.
You got to meet them and stuff. Or?
Yeah. You got to meet it because you're chilling for like a week.
Yeah.
Like everybody's just kind of hanging around the studio for a week, like waiting to do this thing.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was fucking. It was. Have you ever gone to a taping of SNL? You ever go up there? No,
never.
It's fucking. I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but I feel like this is like 30 years ago. Like if you felt like it's almost like this industry, right? Where like 30 years ago, it's like you felt like you were in something. Where now it's like everybody's, everybody you like. And that has to do with the people are doing it too, right? Where like you could do a big podcast with you guys on the side of the road in Texas, or like 30 years ago, and you couldn't do shit if you weren't in like LA or New York. And even in New York, a lot of people like couldn't make it in New York. You have to move to LA. And now like they do movies in fucking Canada, or wherever, everywhere. Like, they got movie studios here. They do. It seems like it's like anybody, like you said, it's like it's a lot of going viral
after COVID for sure.
Yeah.
Especially
Austin,
for comedy.
And I don't pay attention to what's going on in the world enough to know, like, is it still booming or is it like flatting out or is it diving?
I don't know. I don't pay too much attention either. The only reason I know is only on like the comedy side, really.
The film industry, what's his name?
Was it Matthew McConaughey?
And Woody Harrelson? They're trying to get the rights over here, like, to film more.
You and Jamie moving down here is like added to what would be the boom.
Right, yeah.
So I was just thinking, knowing if this is booming
a guy who hasn't worked in 20 years. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, who just got here? Yeah. Everyone was real excited, yeah.
But I only know like the comedy world of it because before COVID, if they would tell us like if you want to make it as a comic, you either got to go to New York to get really good at stand up, or you go to LA to hopefully be seen. Like, get if you want to be a great comic, go to New York. If you want to be a famous comic, go to LA. But for a lot of people who were like too nervous to make the move to one or the other, they'd go to Austin, because Austin would occasionally have like Comedy Central come and do like shows here, or like it was like the
Right.
training wheels to like the big move. And it was also where comics could stay like the busiest, even as just an open micer. People would put on shows out of like their backyards and open mics at like random spots. Like there were every night you could get on stage, But it was crazy though, is that before COVID, Austin was more of like a woke scene. And then after COVID, it became like a say whatever you want scene.
Yeah.
It's crazy watching everything just.
My
turn
brother
around.
came down here, and he like when he came, he was like, "Oh, you're moving to Austin? Like it's fucking bizarre down there. Like you want that?" And then I moved here, and I was like, "I don't see any of the shit that you were talking about." But you said he started comedy late. So did you get him into comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was always like a comedy nerd. Jaime got me to be more of a fan of like stand up.
Back in high school.
Yeah. And when I started doing stand up, I was like 19, like somewhere around there. And I would always tell him to do open mics with me. And he did it like maybe twice
Twice, yeah.
tops. But he'd get like real nervous, and he's like, nah,
It wouldn't go well.
No.
nah.
No.
But I would try to tell him like, bro, it never goes well at the beginning, like never.
Yeah.
But about a year and a half ago, he came on the road with me just to, because he used to do like photography and videography full time.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, well, come take pictures and stuff, and he was you could tell he was like tempted to try it. And so I was like, bro, I told the DJ to bring you up. You're gonna do like 4 minutes, 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And it went well. And so ever since then, he just kept riding that wave.
You had nothing prepared when you were going up for the 5 minutes, or you had shit?
No, I'll talk to him and the other openers that were with us, and they would just tell me like, oh, say this and this, kinda. And I'll just come
he
up
kept
with the
bringing up
premise.
ideas. He'd be like, but he's always done that. Like,
Yeah.
he's always ran bits, even before he even would think. Like, even high school, Jaime was like, hey, what about this? And he'd like talk about this or that.
Yeah.
And so it's like stand up, just waiting to be like formed. It's like,
course.
how do they make the vases? The clay. It's like he's always playing with clay. So I was like, bro, that's
The
a fucking
pottery.
joke. Yeah, the
Shit.
pottery.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, just shape that up, like it'll work. So when we signed them up, we helped them like formulate the set. We're like, dude, just say that first, and then that. Like, there you go, try it. And
Do you
so-
still get nervous when you go up now?
I think everybody still does, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I don't know. You ever thought about trying stand up?
No, it's not my thing. Because even if I got good at it, I would never travel anywhere. Like to go to this even the premiere of the Netflix show I just did was in LA, and I was like, I'm all right. Like I don't.
It's cool that you're self-aware enough to know. But a lot of people, when they get done with one like career path, they're like, I'll just try stand up then.
I don't. I'm not delusional enough to think like I'd be a great stand-up, but I do think I could come up with my life. I think I could come up with like a good 5 minutes, but then never. But I wouldn't want to travel. I wouldn't want to do anything with it. So like to go up and do 5 minutes that might be good, might not, is like for what? I don't even know.
Bro, you ever when you were? Because I don't know what it's like to be like a kid growing up as an actor, but I know what it's like to be a kid and wanting to try different shit. When you were acting and stuff, did you ever think like, bro, I might just quit today and go do this or go do something else?
When we were doing the first episode of Sopranos, so they you call the first episode a pilot, and you make the pilot, and they show the pilot, and hopefully they're like, oh, we'll give you 12 more episodes, so then you make the 13. So they were like, they called us and they were like, you got, they told my mom like, you got a pilot for HBO, which 30 years ago didn't really mean anything. Like now that sounds like, oh my god, like you're on a HBO pilot, like that's sick. But then they didn't do TV, so like people were like, you're on a TV show on HBO, like they didn't even understand. And I remember I went to shoot the first episode, and like I wanted to be at summer camp, so I was like bummed out. Like I was around all these actors, but nobody was really famous yet, especially like a 12-year-old. Like I was like, I don't know these people. I don't know what we're doing. And they were like, you But then obviously, you know, Sopranos got picked up and it became like the fucking. I always talk about how like I don't remember it like, you know, they talk about on Seinfeld and shit where it's like, oh, you know, the first season was tough, people didn't really like it, and the second season it got boom. I remember like the first season of Sopranos, the first episode of Sopranos came out and it felt like it never got more or less popular ever. Like it was just right away. Like people were like,
They want more.
yeah, and it was like, this is fucking great. You know, there was never a thing of like,
Yo, you guys had like a year though, right? Between filming the pilot and then the rest of the first season or something like that.
yeah. And then another time later, like, I don't know if it was season 5 or 6 or some shit, David Chase, the creator, was like, I want to take a year off. Like, is everybody okay with that? And you had all these amazing actors like Edie Falco, who plays Carmela's one of the greatest actors of all time, I think. And then like James and, you know, Lorraine Bracco. And they're like, what are we going to do for a year? And I'm like, what the fuck are these people talking about? Like he just told you we have a year off. Like, I'm going to go chill. Like, I'm going to go chill with my boys and like hang out. And literally like the day we were finished, I went and started hanging out with my friends. And then like, it felt like 3 days later, they called up and they're like, all right, we're ready to start shooting again. And I
That
was
shit
like,
went by fast.
fuck. Like I was just getting fucked up for like a year with my friends and just having the fucking time of my life. Like it was the greatest. But they were all like, as soon as they told me they had a year off, they're like, oh my God, we're going to have to do a play. And I'm like, well, we can't do another TV show. They were like trying to figure out, like talking to their agents. I was like, I'm just hanging out. Like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, how often in life are you told like, hey, you have a year off, and in that year you come back to whatever, $500,000.
This will be here still.
Yeah, and you're gonna get paid, and you'll be here, and everything's fine. So you're like,
I've been on the
Alright.
road for like 3 years,
Yeah.
and I'm always afraid to like take a break because I'm like, what if people don't want to see me do stand up anymore afterwards? But I got tired enough to the point where I was like, I was fine. If they don't come back, they don't come back.
so you did take a break?
I took like a month off last month.
No,
Or like
March.
in March. Yeah, I
Yeah,
took like a
March.
month off. And then I don't want to say too much because I feel like my my reps are probably gonna listen. And so they'll like, you know how, I mean, I don't know how it is in the acting world, but I guess for like, you know, when you're on the road, I feel like your reps are like kind of trying to strategize your tour and like, you know what I mean? So like, I don't want to let anybody know exactly what I'm planning or thinking because not
Yeah.
even I know. But I don't want to stay on the road every week like I did the past 3 years for sure.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
figure something else out.
agents hate me, like, because they know, like, they used to send me scripts. I wouldn't even read them. They'd be like, "Did you like that one?" I'd be like, "Nah, like it wasn't for me," you know. And then a year later, that movie would come out, and I would see it like in the corner of my apartment. I'd be like, "Oh shit, they sent me that. That was a good movie." But I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking sit and read 120 pages when like my friends are calling me like, "Yo, let's go smoke a blunt. Let's go do like, you know, like, do some
Yeah.
shit." I'm like, I don't want to sit here and like when I'm 20 years old, like
Well,
read a book.
It's also good to know like where you're content with. Like I never was like, as a kid, I wasn't like, yo, I need to have a mansion when I grow up. And even now that like we make good money, I'm not like, I need more. Or like if I was in LA, like I was telling you earlier, maybe if I got more into that competitive mindset of like, why'd he get this? I got to get something better. Like maybe if I was in LA and I'd probably get caught in the, what do you call it, like the rat race more. But I think being out here, it keeps me pretty level, like pretty grounded. And it makes me be honest with myself with like, what do I even want? What do I want to do with my time?
Yeah,
Like, do I want to stay on the road? Do I want to, like, if I do auditions from time to time, but I also just pass on a lot of them. So I'll get in a mood where I'm telling my manager and my agent, like, yo, I want to do more acting. Like, give me more auditions. I want to try to learn how to act. And they'll send me auditions like crazy. And I'll do like 1 or 2 of them, like on a self tape. And then the rest, I just won't reply.
uh-huh.
And then I kind of phase back out of it because then I start to think like, bro, like it, like not that I could just book these gigs, right? But like if I got to a point where I booked more acting gigs and I got a little more fame than what I have now, like, do I even want that? Like I can still go to Walmart with my kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like little luxuries like that. It's like, do I want to lose?
And somebody will just give you a head nod, you know, or whatever, instead
Yeah.
of like somebody fucking going
If I
crazy
go to
when you get out
Walmart
the
right now,
car.
I might take like 1 or 2 pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's so manageable.
Well,
Like,
that's the crazy shit about like you gotta. When I was famous, like, you know, the peak of Sopranos and everything, no one had a camera on them. It was so different. Like somebody would meet you and be like, "Hey man, I'm a fan," and you're like, "Oh, thank you," and they're like, "Yeah, how you doing?" Or like actually ask you a question and then walk away. Where now, like I've met, I'd say out of the last 100 people who stopped me and asked me something, I probably made eye contact with like 40 of them because they were just looking at their phone before they even go up to talk to you. They're getting their phone ready,
Yeah.
and then they're in their phone and they're making sure the picture's good, and they don't even like, no one is ever like, "How are you doing?" Like, or like they don't even have an interaction with you.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, yeah, you could show somebody that you have a picture with me, but did you even meet me? Like, I don't even know if we looked at each other. Where when I was 12 and Sopranos started up until whenever, like, whatever iPhone came out where people actually started like taking, like, it wasn't iPhone 1, but like whenever that started, it was totally different. Like you go somewhere and like you could do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you could be in a club fucking doing blow, like doing everything. Nobody's gonna be like, like I've been in clubs and just like fucking having a baggie of blow and like taking a key and like doing coke and not even thinking like, oh my God,
somebody's gonna fucking
like what if somebody, now you can't do shit.
Yeah.
Like nobody's
iPhones made you get sober.
Yeah, iPhone sobered me up. Yeah.
Shout out to Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Do people
He's
ever?
good.
I feel like the what do you call it? Like the brainiacs who actually put work into the iPhone are gonna, not that they watch this podcast, but they're gonna see this and they're like, Steve Jobs get credit for another one.
Yeah.
We got robbed. So
Is there anything he can't do? Yeah.
Do people ever come up to you now and be like, "Hey, it's that kid from The Sopranos"?
Yeah.
Do you get annoyed by that, or?
No. Oh, the way you said it, I would. But
Right.
like other people, no. It doesn't, no. No, it never bothers me. It is weird. Like me and Jamie, who's my sister on Sopranos.
He has a crush on her.
I didn't know. No, I didn't.
Everybody did.
No, I
Everybody does, right?
Yeah, of course. But they asked us to like present at a podcast award show or whatever, and like, they were like, "Oh, we'll write something for you guys to say, and if you don't like it, like you can tweak it or whatever." And I was like, I think it would have been funny because what I was going to tell them if we didn't like it was like, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the kids from Sopranos." Then we get out and we're like, "We're 40." Like, of like, what do you mean the kid? And they're like, "Okay, the 40-year-old kids from Sopranos." It's like, no, we're just 40 years old, because it's like Jamie, like I'm 40, Jamie's 44 years old, and everywhere we go, people are like, "Oh, it's the kids." It's the and like, it doesn't bother me. I just find it like weird.
Yeah, right.
Where I'm like, wow, that's like. What is that? When I have like gray hair and like I have grandchildren, are people going to be like, the kids? Like, and also maybe when you're like, "Oh, you look so young," like maybe that's what keeps me young. Like everywhere I go, people are like, "Oh, it's the kid," like, and I'm like, yeah.
Our memory of you being a kid is what's keeping you
Young
looking.
Yeah. It's like a Disney movie.
What if you actually do look older, but we all saw you as a kid? So like to us, you always just look like that. You're like a walking illusion, bro.
Like you see me young, but he's never seen Sopranos, so I look like an old guy.
I've never seen it.
Well, because when you text me, you said Ralph's a fan.
Oh yeah,
he's only watched Sopranos through TikTok clips.
See, that's what's wrong with the world.
Just TikTok clips.
No. Yeah, that's what's wrong with this generation. No, I just I never watched it either. So when people are like, "I've never seen it," I'm like, "Yeah, me neither." But that helped me a lot. Like, because my character on the show was like annoying and like not the best. But when I was 20 years old and I'd be out at a club, like women didn't know who I was, but their guy friends would be like, "Yo, he's on Sopranos. You don't know, that's the best fucking show." So like they would just tell girls, "I'm a guy from the best show ever," but they don't know that I'm this like annoying fucking kid who like people hate or whatever. So it was good. I liked it sometimes when people don't watch, because they're just like, "Oh wow, you're an actor. That's amazing."
I hate how much I related to AJ as a teenager.
Yeah,
I was that kid, bro. I was annoying. I was like this spoiled kind of brat to like my elders, to my mom, to my uncle. But I'm telling you, bro, I also felt like I related. Like my dad never lived with me or anything. Like I didn't like I wouldn't say he was like absent, but I never lived with him. But I always felt like he would only give me attention if I was fucking up.
Of course.
So I felt like that with AJ too. He was just always getting chewed out by Tony and shit.
Yeah, most kids are only getting attention when they're fucking doing some bad shit. Yeah. Did you ever see the movie Cable Guy with Jim Carrey?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a moment that like it's reminding me of what you're talking about, where like the guy basically is talking about like his parents didn't raise him; he got raised on TV, and he's like, I learned the facts of life from watching the facts of life. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's like you're like you learned that you were in the mafia from watching the mafia show.
Mafia
You know?
show, yeah.
That's crazy.
Cable Guy's a funny ass movie.
Oh, it's so fucking. It's one of those movies that when it came out, people were like, "What the fuck?" And then like 3 years later, like DVD when they could like smoke weed in their crib, were like, "This is the best movie of all time."
Yo, a lot of comedy movies work like that. They get like
Yeah.
what do they call it? Like a cult following after.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's weird? It's like I didn't really understand a lot of that at times with stuff, but then sometimes if you go and you watch a TV show like at the premiere, like my friends would have premieres for stuff like that, and you go, yeah, I don't, it's okay, like it's not that good or whatever, and then you go home and you watch it, and like whether it's because it's like you're kind of you're in your bed, it's your TV, you're doing it when you want, it's better. Like you're like, oh, I'm comfortable, I'm in my bed, I'm watching this fight, and that's Drea De Matteo, who played Adriana on the show, who like that's when you say you had a crush on Jamie, I always had a crush on her.
Okay,
She's
yeah.
like gorgeous, but she would always talk about like we were the first, like Sopranos was the first TV show that was like the quality of a movie, but you only saw it like in your home.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, like now there's a lot of TV shows like that. Like all TV shows are like the quality of a movie. But back then TV shows were different. Like TV shows were like, are you sure you want to do, or like the neighbor was like, hey kid, like, it was all
It's very studio.
Yeah. Where like Sopranos was like intimate and there were like people are fucking whispering and killing each other.
I feel like that was, I mean, not that I watched a whole lot of TV shows, before Sopranos, but I feel like Sopranos was also one of the first TV shows to, like what you're saying, like it was shot like a movie. Like they were careful. There was I feel like there was very rarely any angles that weren't like on purpose. Like they shot it
100%.
from this angle for a reason. Like,
100%.
you're looking at this from this angle for a reason.
Yeah. And that's what it like. It spoke to the people who were just like, maybe not people who were looking at like beautiful film, but they were just like, I love fucking Scarface. Like I love gangster shit, and they loved it. And then people who like really loved like film and were like, I love, paying attention to every second of looking for every little thing. Like those people loved it too,
I'm one of those people. And I feel like that's where me and my family, like it started to like, that's something like me and my uncle had in common about Sopranos. My uncle was into Sopranos because he's like, yo, it's some gangster shit. But then I'm like, yo, but they put that goldfish there for a reason.
Yeah. That's good though. That's because you were watching as a teenager too to realize that shit. Because I was doing the show up until 22, and like, the first 4 years I was on, I didn't think of anything. Like, I was just like farting around and like being fucking
me
stupid.
and this fucker were like Cable Guy, where we grew up like raised by television a lot.
Oh yeah.
So we started to pay attention to a lot of
for
stuff
sure
like that.
I was too, but up until probably like right around the time where Sopranos started, because then I was at an age where like, like I could start going out and living my life. And when, a lot of kids when they're 12 years old, if you live somewhere, you have to ask your mom, like, can you take me to this person's house or can you do this? But like when you grow up in New York City, you just fucking open your front door and you're like, I'm in chaos.
Yeah.
Like I'm in this crazy. So as soon as I got to the point where like I could go out at night by myself and like go to the park and do whatever, TV was just on the side. Like I was like, yo, this is fucking crazy. And then you start smoking weed and then fucking girls come around and you're like, yo, what the, like TV? Like I was like, TV sucks. And then as soon as I got sober, I was like, I'm back to just watching TV. Like, it came full circle to now where I'm just like, even when I'm, I go maybe like twice a year, I'm like, all right, I'll go out and actually do something. And as soon as I'm there, I'm like, why am I not home?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why am I not sitting on my fucking couch? And because like, I have just as much fun on my couch, but I don't have to worry about all the other shit that goes on when you're out,
Yeah. What's the slogan for HBO?
It's not TV. It's HBO.
It's HBO. You remember that?
Yeah.
It's static. Now it's just Max.
Now it's Matt, and they just changed the icon from blue to black too.
Yeah.
Now it's black.
I don't like that. I don't like change.
Yeah, I know. I don't either until a week later when I forget that it was ever blue.
I didn't even like when TiVo first came out. People started recording the DVR and all that.
Wow.
We didn't have TiVo.
I know we didn't have it.
They had TiVo, right?
I never had TiVo, but we had it once it came with the cable box. Like
Mm-hmm.
years after TiVo, you started being able to record with the cable box, and that was the best because like when I was growing up, if you like two shows that were on at the same time, you just couldn't watch one. Like you had to pick.
You had to pick.
Like you'd be like, oh, I guess I like fucking this one better. And
Nah,
then you
dude,
just,
but it made TV more exciting. TV used to be like I don't know. I feel like you're digging for. You ever see when they're out there
sifting
digging
for gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just be flipping through channels and you just happen to come across something.
Yeah.
And like if you caught it, you caught it, and if you didn't, you didn't.
You know what's weird? So to me about actors now is like I hear a lot of actors complaining like there's not a lot of work. Like there's not a lot of work as much as there was. And I'm like, well then how come I can go on all these platforms and search forever,
Bro,
and it never ends? Like
I will go. I'll be like, man, I want to watch a TV show I've never seen before, and I'll go through like all the apps, through like Hulu, through Max, through Netflix. I'll go through all of them, and I'll find options on all of them, and I just won't be able to decide. Like, bro, there's always
Same.
shit being made.
they call it some shit like decision paralysis. Like when you have too much shit. It was like when we used to have like when I grew up, I think there was 11 channels. So it was like, yo, here I'm watching this. Like I'm watching fucking Different Strokes or like whatever show you're fucking watching.
I'm more on YouTube now. I like
100%. Yeah.
Fucking
So YouTube. I'm so dumb that like it took me 10 years before I created an account on YouTube. So I just was like not really using it to its potential. And then once I created an account, that's what I think the problem is. Like, you know how everyone's like and subscribe. Like I would hear subscribe and I'm like, oh, nobody explains to you what happens when you subscribe.
You get
like
the little notification and everything.
yeah, but also like then I would turn on. I like if I go home now and I turn on my TV, it's like YouTube. It's my TV. It's everything I want to see.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit. Where like it took me fucking 10 years. I just put my credit card on my phone for Apple Pay, and people were like, yo, you have to use Apple Pay. And I was like, I'm not. I was like, I don't want that fucking shit. As soon as I did it, like the next day, I was like, my life just got 20% better.
I'm like that too. I'm like hesitant to like. I didn't put Apple Pay on my phone for a long time too because I was just like, why? Why do they want me to do this?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And then when everybody's doing something, I'm like, nah. I'm like, watch, something bad's gonna happen. Like,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I'm like, nah. I'm not gonna get suckered
in my
into
mind.
that.
I swear to God, I'm gonna be like the one who's different.
Yeah.
They'll see.
Yeah.
When-
Yeah. And then you do it, and you're like, oh my God. Like you buy something now, and I'm like. And then like I just walk, I'm like, this is fucking like
I want people to notice that I like the first time I did Apple Pay, I want to look at the cashier and be like, I used to be an idiot, you know, but not anymore.
yeah,
Like,
that should be the commercial for it.
Were you scared when they first came out?
Apple Pay,
No, like
Sopranos.
Tap. No,
What?
the
the tap
pay?
pay.
The Apple Pay.
No, not Apple Pay. Like,
Oh, you talking about
when
the
you
chip
tap
when-
your
when the
card?
first, yeah. I was the
Uh,
first one on it, just to say,
the first one in ever?
because I had Google Pay. Google Pay was the first
Oh.
one,
Oh,
yeah.
and I remember like doing CVS, and I tapped it.
I
was like, whoa.
remember when you first got that Google Pay thing, and I was like, why can't you just be normal?
And
yeah.
now everybody does it.
Nobody uses Google Pay.
Okay,
You gotta
but
go
still
back
tap.
to the card.
But still, people tap and pay now.
Everybody. Yeah, you
Yeah.
started it.
Oh, I was on the train. I was on that train. I'm like, hey, this is gonna be it.
So what's the thing that we don't know now that everyone's gonna be doing a year from now?
Let me see. Ads
Ads.
in real life ads, mobile game ads.
Mobile game ads in real life, like in real life conversation?
Yeah, because I feel like, okay, this is another question. You think we could ever get to a point in our lives where a movie ticket costs 15, which they do already,
Movie tickets are $15?
but like they comes with ads on the movie theaters,
It comes with ads.
Ads
on
are
the-
already in the movies.
Yeah.
but like in between the movies, like a commercial. But if you want to watch a movie with no ads,
20.
25.
Oh, if that's the way the movie industry is headed, I don't think they would right now. Isn't the movie industry like not
Dying?
doing good right now just because people aren't going to the movies as much or something like
But that would help them out because that's what Netflix just started adding ads.
Mhm.
to
Ads are
people's-
everywhere. I feel like social media is just ads now.
I don't have any social media.
No, I
I'm-
feel like I'm
I'm
on
not-
social media and everything that I'm doing is related to some sort of product. Like even if it's like
Oh.
not an actual ad, I feel like I'm mentioning something that's like could be used as an ad.
I got the rental today, and the whole drive over here, I was getting budget, enterprise.
I also don't know why you got a rental.
I told you why I got a rental.
No, you didn't.
The windshield was getting replaced.
Oh,
But yeah, I
You
just,
crack your windshield?
yeah, and then I was getting ads from cars dealerships.
I hate that when I use Uber a lot when we're like like if we got a show this weekend, like in Florida or something, and I'm using Uber the whole time we're in Florida. When I get back, I'm getting like 3 or 4 Uber ads a day. Like, do you need a ride? I'm like, bro, I use you all the time. Leave me alone. Like, Uber's like a needy girlfriend at this point. It's
Yeah.
like, yo, give me attention. Like, I will. Just wait till the weekend. Like,
Or they give you a discount you don't need. Like they're like, here's 50% off groceries. I'm like, what? Like just to be like, hey, remember? Or like we're like you said, like we're over here. Like
I fucking hate it. I hate that I sometimes feel like a human walking, talking ad, because I'll buy stuff like a different brand of like boxers, and then I'm like, I should tell people about this.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, wait, why? The fuck
Yeah.
am I doing?
Yeah.
There's very few things that I do that with, but when I do find like a true thing, it's hard for me to let my friends live the other way. You know, like I'm like, you're wearing like if I see somebody now who wears boxers, like if you ever see like boxers poking out
Like
of
the
somebody's
actual puffy ones?
yeah, like I'm like, yo, what? Like you want to sit down with them and be
Wait,
like, yo,
what am I wearing
that's-
right now though? Because they're not like tighty whities, but they're like
But are they? But is it like that
it's
tight elastic?
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah,
But it's
that's
like shorts, or what do you call it?
boxer briefs.
Boxer briefs.
Yeah, that's what
the
you
name
have
for
to
it.
do. Yeah, like when you see, like I remember when I used to wear boxers, and like the whole thing sometimes would end up all up
Oh,
here.
yeah.
That
It's
shit
very
is
old school.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see somebody wearing that now, and I'm like, you're wearing fucking boxers. Like, you want to have a sit down and be like, yo, you can't. I can't let you keep doing that.
So boxer briefs. So briefs are like the
Tight.
tight
tight ones.
Speedo looking.
No. Boxer briefs. That's
White tighties. Right.
Yeah, but the boxer briefs come down to here, but they're not just like loose shorts. They're like they're like stuck.
So which
to your
ones are the
skin.
ones that like only cover your dick?
Yeah, those are tighty whities.
Tighty whitey.
Yeah.
We should bring those back.
You know what? I tried. I bought one pair to see what it would be like in the gym. Because in the gym, sometimes they ride up. And I was like, you know what? Lululemon has like a fucking grown up pair of tighty whities and they're black instead of looking like they're going to have fucking shit stains on them. I'm like, that's good. Like a black pair of tighty whities. And I wore them for one day. It was all I could think about. Like I was I would look people in the eye and be like, this person knows I'm wearing it. I was like, I can't do these.
I feel you though, because I went up a size in boxer briefs just for going to the gym, because I'm like, bro, they either got to go way longer so they stop riding up, or I gotta cut them or some shit.
Yeah,
but I didn't have the balls that you do to wear the tighty whities.
Yeah, well, I was like, no one's gonna know about this until I talk about it on the podcast and tell everybody.
Now people are gonna be looking for them.
Yeah. They're retired. They're in the back of the underwear drawer like a fucking gun. You know? they're just hiding under everything else.
You were like, you could have thrown them away, but you're like, nah, just in case.
Yeah, I was like, you never know. You know, maybe I'll have a girl who wants to see these ones.
Yeah, but you like it also depends on the package.
Why you look at me like that?
I mean, look at you.
Did you saw that look, right?
Yeah.
You said, but you were like, watch this.
Yeah.
Well, it just depends how package you have, how much package you have down there.
Well, you just change sizes.
Well, I wear boxer briefs.
So what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say about your size?
No, I have a good size, but like I have a lot of leg room. You know.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
You're like, trying to say I wouldn't know, but he would know.
He's like, Ralph knows what I'm talking about.
Or wear stretchy.
He's like, this guy doesn't know what I'm talking about, but you know.
He's like, tell him, Ralph.
Or our camera guy knows what I'm talking about.
Kika's not here, fool.
Oh, he's in the restroom. My bad. Well, you know what I mean.
I don't know where you're going with this. It's kind of scaring me.
You got a lot of leg room.
Yeah, well, extra space
to move around.
No, I don't have a lot of space to move around.
I don't know if you have space or not. Is your crotch okay?
It's like a fortune cookie trying to unravel what you're saying. Yeah.
What's it called? Oh, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought.
It's all right,
the package.
Yo, okay, I do have a little bit of a fan question.
Yeah.
Only because I'm like, bro, what is this world like? But I saw you you were telling a story once about man, I feel so bad that I'm blanking on his name. Tony, the guy who played
James Gandolfini?
No.
Tony Sirico.
The
other Pauly Walnuts.
Pauly Walnuts.
Yeah.
Where he said something about a man doesn't light a cigarette for another man.
He said a man always lights his own match.
He lights his own match. Yeah.
And I was like,
but you were a kid, but it's crazy. I'm like, bro, they just let you smoke like on set, like in between takes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it got to a point like at first when I would go to stuff, you need to be with your parent. And then it got to a point where like my aunt would take me, and then it got to a point where like she would just sit in the room all day, you know, because you're working for fucking 12, 16 hours sometimes and shit. So like she wouldn't know. So yeah, I don't know what age, maybe like 15, 16, like I just started smoking. But even before that, like when we would go to parties and stuff, I was on my own, you know, a lot of the time. So I would just, or like you go with your family to the party, like the premiere, and then the after party, I would be on my own. So then as soon as I started smoking cigarettes when I was like 12, so I probably started smoking cigarettes on Sopranos like in front of people like 15 or some shit.
Did anybody ever try to stop you?
Nah.
Nah.
They knew. I mean, when I was drinking, sometimes they'd be like, "Whoa, slow down," like, you know what I mean? Because I'd be drinking fucking like vodka cranberries, and because I'm like, I don't know if it's because I'm Irish or whatever, but like I get bright red when I first start drinking. So when I first start drinking, people think I'm drunk because they're like, "Oh, you're all red." And I'm like, "No, this means I'm not drunk." As soon as once I get to like drink 6 or 7, it goes away, and that's when I start to get in the zone. You know, that's when it's good. So people would see me like bright red and be like, "Oh my god, you're wasted." I'd be like, "No, I'm fine."
Yeah.
You think the Sopranos can ever be made these times? Like,
yeah, I think there's a lot of that shit where it's like, you know, you could never do that today, you could never do this. But I think, I forget, what was you know, like Tom Segura just did Joe Rogan, and they were talking about like, you know, in comedy, they'll say like, "Hey, you can't say that," but in like a dramatic movie, they never say you can't do that. Like, you fucking, I forget what they were saying, but they were like, you shoot somebody in the head, you take all their money, and they're like, that movie was great. Like nobody ever says like you shouldn't do that in a movie, but just for some reason with comedy, people get mad that people are like having a good time with it, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's different when you. I think one thing that's different is like, you know, you see this one comedian say a joke that you might feel is like, no, that's his real opinion. Like that's how I feel. But what like amplifies it is when they show the shot or you hear audiences laughing. You're like, they actually agree with him. Like,
Yeah.
you get real caught up in it.
Yeah. But that's the same thing as like, this movie just made $100 million in the box office like this week. It's like, whoa, people must really fucking like. But just with dramatic acting, they're like, oh my god, like you're so amazing. They never say to dramatic actors like, hey, you shouldn't have done that. You know, like anything that they do. And it's crazy. Like yeah, but the other thing when you say like, could they make it now? I think the weirdest part would be like how social media would fit into Sopranos if it was like today, because everybody who does a TV show now, they're like, oh, we're all on set. Like, you know, Jill just ate a bagel. And it's like
There's
whole
no
thing.
mystery to anything anymore.
Yeah, we're like Sopranos would be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you know, when you talk about Pauly Walnuts, like Pauly Walnuts is not on Instagram. And if he is, it's like, that's a different world. Like,
that dude was like him, right? Like
yeah. He was like a gangster from Brooklyn in and out of prison. Yeah. There were always like guys around, especially like people would bring around who you'd be like, like, hi, sir. Like, you know, like you're very like, you see some people and you're like, whoa, that dude. But yeah, Tony Sirico was always like, no games there. And that's also what was so great about Sopranos is like, there was no, that thing that goes on in LA, which is like, oh, we're all at this guy's house. And then you're at somebody's house and they're like, yeah, you know, no one likes him. And you're like, well, then why the fuck are we all here? Why are people here? And they're like, well, his dad created the zipper. And you're like, but I don't care. Like, we're like, on Sopranos, it was like there was no like talking behind somebody's back or this. Like if somebody thought you did something fucked up, it would be like right there, you know, like in front of everybody. But everybody always got along. And the other thing that people would always talk about is like people were always scared that if you were the asshole, you'd get killed because they could just kill people on the show. Like on the show is the thing where like, oh, you want to complain about your camper? Like, all right.
You're a snitch now.
Good luck. Like, yeah. You're a rat. Yeah, it is though. It's like we all get along. If you want to fuck up this thing, like there's an easy answer to get you out of here.
Like a real mob style. Like, yo, don't fuck up this thing of ours.
And then luckily, like, you know, James Gandolfini, who was Tony, could have done whatever he wanted, but he was great. Edie Falco, great. Like all these people. I'm still, you know, I've been friends with Jamie for 28 years. She's fucking one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Like she's somebody who I still watch to this day. I'm like, I'm gonna watch her do some fucked up shit one day because I like, you know, you grew up in New York City and most people have to be like, you know, people are always doing like fucked up shit. And I would watch her and be like, you're always nice. Like you're just always nice to people. And I was friends with her for 3 years. And I remember being like, she's just being fake. And then like 10 years. And I'm like, this is really
any day now.
Yeah. And I'm just waiting. And then she's like, you know, do you have $20 to leave the maid in the like, and she couldn't even, if she couldn't like leave money for the maid at the hotel when we were like 16, she'd be upset and like letting it affect her day. And I'm like, but she's always been that way. She's still one of my best friends, and she's so nice, and she just does the right thing. And like, I always tell her, I'm like, one day you got to tell someone to just fuck off, like, because it'll feel good, like, because she's probably been holding it in for so long that like you just want to tell somebody, like,
You ever
like
done
go
that?
fuck yourself. I grew up in New York City.
You're
You tell people to go fuck you.
born
like,
and raised in New York.
I was born and raised in New York City,
Which
92nd
part?
Street,
92nd
92nd Street and 2nd Avenue. So like I grew up in like income housing. Like you tell somebody to go fuck themselves in the elevator. Like it was just all, that was your whole shit. Like, yeah, my family, even my family was like, when you fight in my family, it was like you are enemies now. Like you're as soon as a fight would start, like 30 seconds into a fight, it's like, all right, you're my fucking mortal enemy, and we're gonna fight as fucked up as we can until this goes away, and then an hour from now, I'm gonna ask you like, you want a soda or like something. And that's how we erase all of it, you know. But yeah, growing up in New York City, you're always, and then being a drunk, like I was a drunk for, you know, like a solid drunk most of the time for over 10 years. You're just always telling people, it's like, you know, like you'll walk in the middle of traffic and a car will come by and you're like, fuck you. Like, it's like their fault, you know, like you're just a mess. Like I was in Vegas alone. Like, yeah, I was always telling people to go fuck themselves, you know, but it was mostly because I was just drunk or hungover or fucking angry. But like New York City, it's so normal to tell someone like, fuck you, or like, you know what I mean? Like people are always getting in your way. And like, even when I go back now that I'm in Texas, it takes me like a day still where like, because like you're waiting for the light to change and someone will get like right here and you're like, oh, like you don't know, you're like, should I move over? And then by the third day you're like, yo, would you fucking like, you know, you get comfortable and you snap back into like being who you are,
a normal person.
And yeah, and I don't know, so I feel like a part of me is missing when I'm not there, but then sometimes when I'm here and I'm like calm and I'm chill, I'm like, man, this is nice. Like yesterday or the day before, I went to the lake at like 3:00 and I was home by 6. Like my friend was like, you want to go to the lake? I was like, oh, well, like in New York, that's a whole day thing. Like that's your day. And she was like, no, we could just go at like 3 and come back by 6. And I was like, what? Like I couldn't even understand. And, like we went for 2 hours and then left. And I was like, yeah, I guess you can do. Like I still don't understand shit, you know? Like I'm like, wow, yeah, we just did that. And like, that was really nice. And she's like, yeah, you could do that all the time. Like me and my friends do that all the time. I'm like, okay, yeah, I like that.
You get caught up in it all, man.
Yeah.
I have a pond where I live. It's a little pond. And I like to sit there to chill. But when I sit there, I'll forget that I can just like chill for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like you should be doing something else.
Well, yeah. I'm always like busy with this or busy with that. Like, but then I sit at the pond. And I'm like, bro, I don't enjoy this pond enough.
Yeah.
I can just fuck off here for a bit and like go right back inside. It's
and
like
then,
a cheat code.
And then you feel better later too. You're like, oh, that was nice that I had that. Like,
you know what? I don't even think I do though. I think I end up being more pissed off after, because then like Jaime will hit me up with some bullshit and I'll be like, bro, I have a pond. I stepped away from the pond for this. Like, you motherfucker.
No, I don't. I'll text him about something about like a podcast or like a meme on Instagram.
Bro, I don't know how this podcast works. Like Jaime runs everything.
Oh, really?
Jaime was the one that was like, yo, let's start a podcast. I was always like, for what? What the hell am I going to talk about? Like, I'm not like super funny all the time. I feel like people will expect you to be like funny the whole podcast. And I'm just like, bro, I don't know what people expect from the podcast. I've never had my own podcast. And then finally I was like, all right, bro, we'll do a podcast. I was like, I'll buy whatever we need for it. I was like, but you run everything. Like, you run it. And he was like, hey, I got it, no problem. So sometimes he's messaging me questions. He'll be like, such and such asked if we want to do this for the podcast. I'm like, who? And he's like, the people who manage our podcast. I'm like, I don't. Yes, no, I don't know. You make decisions, bro. I'll ride this bitch till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, that's how when Tom and Christina were like, do you want, we want you to do a pod with us. You want to do a pod with us? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, we will handle everything.
Bro, how'd you meet Tom?
So me and Jamie we're doing a podcast with our friend Kasim in LA, like right before we started, and then COVID hit like right away. Like, it was crazy. Like, we were in the studio and then like, I don't know what episode it was, but then it was just like bang. As soon as we got on YouTube, it was like fucking COVID hit, and then we were on Zoom, which sucked. But Yeah, I don't know who reached out to who, but they were like, yeah, do you want to come on your mom's house? This is like 5 years ago. And they're like, you and Jamie come on your mom's house to promote your podcast. And I was listening to your mom's house all the time then. So when I went in there and they were talking about this stuff, I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, because I'm like, I listen every fucking week. So then I started talking to Christina and I started talking to Tom, and then we just started bullshitting. And I think it was because it was like during COVID. So like people were just kind of staying, like texting each other, like shooting the shit. Like nobody was out doing stuff. So we just became friends. And then when I came here, or right before I came here, so the show that came out today on Netflix, Tom shot one episode. So he shot 3 skits. And he was like, I want to shoot this on my own because I don't want somebody telling me like what I can and can't do. He's like, I want to make it as fucked up as possible, and they'll tell me not to. So he took his own money, he shot 3 skits, and then he was gonna just put it out on YouTube. But when he showed it to Netflix, Netflix was like, we'll buy 6 episodes.
Hell yeah.
So then we did the first episode. That's when I came here to see Jamie for her birthday, and I went out Tom and Christina's boat, and they were like, we want you to come here to do a podcast for us. And I was like, well, I love coming on your mom's house and like hanging out with their people and
Bro, they're
doing
dope.
it. They're so fucking great, and they're chill, and like we've done 100 episodes and they've never been like, oh, don't do this or like do this or whatever. From day one, they're like, what do you want? What do you want to do? And we're like, we want to do this. They're like, have fun. Like, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So it's just been fucking great, and they handle everything, and like they know, I think I felt a lot of responsibility if I was going to do a podcast for somebody, because I don't have social media. I'm not about that. Like, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be promoting my fucking shit every day. Like, I want to do it, kind of leave it out there. Like, I know it's not going to be the biggest podcast. Like, it's not going to be some fucking groundbreaking thing. It's just, I enjoy doing it and I like it and I want to have fun. And they both came on mine and Jamie's other podcast, and they were like, well, we had fun with you and we want you to have fun here. And then I was like, sounds good. And then, yeah, there's just been no pressure.
Damn, no social media, bro. That's tight. I wish I could get to that level.
Yeah, I just I couldn't do it. I noticed right when like social media started coming out, shortly after I like got on Instagram, and I was like, no, this is fucking up my brain. Like, I felt it right away.
It's fucking up my brain right now.
Yeah.
I can escape from the world. It's like I don't have any real thoughts anymore. My mind is just numb as I watch reels.
100%. Yeah. It's just so like even the amount of that I watch YouTube, there's times where I'm like, man, I really fucking just spaced out there for 6 hours. Like, where I'm like, fuck, but I see people. I see people who are like, I really want to do this thing, and then they get to that thing, and then they're just on Instagram at that thing that they really wanted to do, and I'm like, what are you?
Enjoy the thing, goddammit.
Yeah, and it's it's like old shit to talk now about like why social media is bad. Everybody knows, but it's just it felt really bad to me. Like when I felt, because I'm an addict, so like you start going like this, and then somebody's like, hey, you want? I'm like, shh, like like I become a dick.
I
like,
wonder if the dude or I don't know who invented Instagram, but I wonder if they knew that they were inventing like a human Pokédex. You watch Pokemon?
No, I know what it is.
Where they scan the thing. Because I feel like now people are like, all right, well, who's this guy? All right, whatever. Yeah, I'll follow you. And then they see, and then they're like, oh, I should be more impressed by him. Like,
yeah, or less,
or
I should unfollow him.
Yeah,
I should. Where like it's a fucking crazy. There was that show on Netflix, like the Social Experiment or whatever it was called, and like all the people who created like the Facebooks and the Instagrams or this, like they would talk to them about it, and then at the end they'd be like, do you let your kids use it? And they were like, no, like, we wouldn't let any of our children, even when they're like 14, 15, they're like, no, you can't.
You said that you're more into like YouTube now. Are there any YouTubers you like, or any specific channels?
I mean, I like a lot of poker stuff. So like, there's this guy, Corey Iring, who's like a good poker guy. It's just, I don't know. People aren't really into like poker YouTube and stuff. Yeah. But what else? I love fucking podcasts. I'm always watching podcasts. I'm always watching Your Mom's House. I like, obviously, like Matt and Shane's podcast, but I listen to that mainly. Because we watch it or listen, it's the same, where like Your Mom's House has like stuff you want to see, like they're always like, here's a clip of some guy. And if I try listening, I listen for 5 minutes. I'm like, I got to shut this off because I need to see this person who they're talking about. But what else do I watch a lot of stuff on like finance, like I'm into that shit. Because I'm like, how do I make enough money doing something else so that I don't have to work? That's what my goal is I'm like, I don't want to have to work again one day, you know?
Bro, what? Yeah, I feel like once you reach a point where you don't have to go back to a day job, your next focus becomes like, how do I stay away from day jobs or needing a day job again?
Yeah. And that's like ever since I got sober and working out, now that I'm like happy and healthy, I now I'm not so scared of like, you know, if I had to go live in my uncle's basement and like just like eat super clean and go to the gym every day and hang out with family, like I'd be okay with it. But before I got sober, that was my nightmare of like losing my money and having to like move back in with somebody in my family and like be stuck in that because I was not happy, you know? So I'd be like, oh, I need to live this like party life or whatever. But now that I have a fucking 1-bedroom apartment. I always have. Like when we were, I think on the last season of Sopranos, we made like $1 million or some shit. So like even at the peak of like the most money in the world I was making to like, you know, a few years ago, I probably made like $8,000 in residuals from fucking Sopranos or some shit. And so I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment my whole life. Like I don't
New
feel
York,
a need.
like, was the perfect place for you, I think. Like, I think you growing up in New York prepared you for like everything in life.
Yeah.
You're used to the apartment lifestyle. You're used to just
Never had
being
a car.
yourself. You've never had a car?
I've never had a car in my
Till
life.
this day?
No.
What the fuck?
How'd you get here?
Uber.
For real?
Yeah. I've never had a car ever in my life. No. I've never.
When we parked outside, all I saw was like a Kia and like a Hyundai. I was like, no way he drives a Kia.
That would be an upgrade. I got nothing. I'm just fucking walking. But I'm a New York City guy, so I'm a walker. Like I made like a goal for the last like 3 years, I think, to get like 10,000 steps a day. I've had it every fucking year for the last like 3 years. I love walking around. Like when I'm in New York, if I have a doctor's appointment at like 3 o'clock, I'll leave my place at 1 and walk.
You just walk the whole way.
I love walking in New York City, man, because it's
Walking
just
too.
you're just fucking like I don't know, like it's time doesn't exist. Like I love New York City.
My first time going to New York, I was really excited to see Times Square. But then once I went there a few times, I started to hate Times Square because nobody walks. Everybody's just kind of in the way.
Standing,
It's
taking
everyone's
pictures.
like looking up, or like someone's trying to get you to fucking buy a CD, or like they give you a CD and then they tell you you're gonna fucking. But that's like growing up in New York. I'd say my last 10 years in New York, I think I went to Times Square twice because I just ended up there by mistake, like where somebody was like, "Yo, come here," and I wasn't even thinking, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like
You see some wild shit out there too. I remember being in the subway under Times Square, and there was a dude laying face down on the floor, like just like, and everybody just walking around them, stepping over him.
well, yeah,
I was like, yo, nobody wants to touch this guy.
no, and that's like, you know, twice a year. There's always a thing where it's like, homeless guy dead for 4 days in New York before anyone like you know pays attention to anything, and it's like. Well, if you're gonna spend your whole day walking up to homeless people who are sleeping in New York, like what you can't do anything else. You know, you're just gonna be like, oh, let's check on this person because you know most
New Yorkers
of them
should have like instead of jury duty, it's just like your day to check on homeless people all day.
Yeah.
And like every corner, all you hear is in New York.
Oh yeah, I started to hate that shit. Where the 360 videos? You ever see those?
No.
Like
It's like for tourists.
yeah, it's like in tourist area, like in New York. Like you stand on this little thing,
Like a stage, like a mini stage.
like a mini stage.
Oh, okay.
And they have a
And
360 camera.
a 360
Right.
And but the whole time that song is playing, so you're just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What concrete dreams are made.
That actually is a good song.
Oh,
But-
dude, when that first came out, I don't know if it was the year after, whatever. The Yankees won the fucking World Series, and they were playing. I mean, it was like the third song everywhere you went. When the night when they won the World Series, I remember being out, and it was like they would play like dun dun da 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 dun, dun, like that. One other thing, and then it was just like New York, and it was just. I mean, you couldn't match.
Bro, you ever meet anybody that you were starstruck by?
I mean, when I met Jennifer Love Hewitt, that was fucking it.
Oh yeah.
Like I was in love with her more than I've ever loved any of my girlfriends ever to this day.
How
Still,
old were you
like
when you met her?
I was like 16 or maybe 15. Yeah, no, I was younger. I was like 15 or some shit. But man, like she didn't disappoint. She was like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life.
Did you shoot your shot?
No, like I was so young and I was so like like I couldn't even like really function. Like I remember even. This is a long story, but like, we did I did
you
an
tell her
interview.
you were in Sopranos?
Huh?
Did you tell her you were in Sopranos?
No, she knew. Back then,
Okay.
everybody knew.
Okay,
You know,
good.
it was like it was a thing. It was a
Okay, good.
big. It's not like now where like everyone's famous. You know, people have to say who they are. Like it was like, oh yeah, you're but so I did a article, an interview for like I don't know, some shit, and they were like, "Oh, are there any actors that like you love?" And I was like, "Oh, I love Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like she's the most beautiful." Blah, blah. And I went on, and then I got a call. My manager got a call, I think, from her manager that was like, "Oh, she's gonna be in New York and like she wants to meet you," or like I don't know if they set it up. Who knows what really happened?
That was your chance.
I know, but who knows? But they were like, "Yeah, she wants to meet you," or like they said it. They could have been lying that she wanted to meet me and they just wanted to set it up for like a photo shoot, or who knows? But she was working on a show at the time. I went to the Guggenheim Museum. I met her, and even right before she showed up, like I looked at my boy because I brought one of my boys. I was like, "Yo, I gotta go." Like I was like, I can't do this. And then she was like, "Robert," like, and I was like, I was a mess. Like I couldn't even. I still think about it, and I'm like, oh no. Like I was just standing there, like, huh? Like she was just the most, and like she was short. I love that. She was like 5 foot tall. I thought she was gonna be like taller. She was 5 foot tall. So you like this woman who like I had pictures of her in my room all over, and then when you see her and then like she's smaller than you, I was like so in love. And then when she gave me her phone number at the end of it, and she like kissed it.
Oh,
with
God.
like her lipstick was on the thing next to the phone number,
Robert.
and I remember holding it in my hand and like sweating. Like,
Robert, you could have married this woman.
I don't know, because I was 15 and people were like, "Oh, she had a boyfriend at the time." I think she was dating like Wilmer Valderrama or some shit.
I don't even know who
That 70s show?
That 70s show.
Who's
Yeah.
Fez.
His name
Yeah.
Fez.
Yeah. Well,
He's
here's again.
never seen that show.
Listen, I love Jennifer Love Hewitt, so I don't know if this is true or whatever, but a guy told a story, I think on the Howard Stern show or some shit, that he was out at a club and he had like a ring on or a bracelet, and then some other guy had the same ring or bracelet. And he's like, "Oh, like," and he was like, "That's nice. Like, yeah, I got the same thing or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, my girlfriend gave it to me." And he's like, "Oh, me too." And he's like, "Who's your girlfriend?" He's like, "Jennifer Love Hewitt." And he was like, "That's my girlfriend." So apparently,
Fez got cheated on by Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I don't know. I don't want to say. I forget like what it was. Who told the story? It could have been another like because it was like I think it was supposed to be Wilmer and like this guy Rich, I think from like a band back in the day or some shit. But they told a story on Howard Stern that apparently she was like. She knew who she was. Like she knew,
Dude.
She was buying guys bracelets or rings.
You could have got that third bracelet,
dude. I wouldn't be here right now if I found out she was cheating on me. I would have killed myself.
for real.
Oh my god, I would have jumped off. Dude. I've never cared about a woman the
More
way
than her. Dude,
she's.
come on.
You meet her in
half
person,
glass
it's
full.
like,
You know,
oh my god,
half
she's
glass full, dude. She cheats on you. You're like, bro, I had this much good amount of time. You count the time that you were like, what do you call it? Oblivious to the cheating or like negligent to it. Like you didn't know. Like you just enjoy that time, bro.
You like Sopranos? It would have been like Danya when Danya left.
Which one was Danya?
The Puerto Rican girlfriend. I would have been depressed in fucking bed.
Yeah.
I would have been trying to kill myself. Yeah,
bro. Another time. I think every guy can relate to that one. Everybody's had a Danya.
See, I never had that.
You never had a Danya?
I never had that.
Bro, that's another thing where I was like, fuck.
How does she look like?
She's beautiful. I mean, she's an actress, Danya Ramirez. She's a lot of people.
Yeah, very pretty actress.
Yeah, she's really pretty.
That's another one of my favorite parts when Tony's telling AJ, he's like, you're a good guy. He's like, and you're white. Like
you got stuff going for you.
Yeah. Bro, that's such a badass scene.
I do. Like part of me wants to go back and watch it, but then I'm like, I can't. It's just too.
That must be tough. I always wondered that about like actors and like my favorite movies was like, bro, I wonder if they like, because like I'm saying, like there's no way it's as enjoyable as being in it versus like being a fan. Like there's a different version for you. Like you enjoyed it as part of the cast, as part of the family. Like you know what I mean? Like you had this whole ride. But I don't think you could ever be a fan of it as big as the fans are. You know what
there
I mean?
were people on the show who would watch it every Sunday with their family and they fucking loved it. And then you know what it was too? There were other people who they came on like season 3 and they were already big fans of the show. So then they were like, this is the best show. Like, they just loved it. I also think like I was 12, when we started and this was like, so, like there weren't, like I've never been on the street for the last 30 years and a 12-year-old knew who I was and was like, I fucking love Sopranos. Like, it's just not really like a kid thing, especially like the first episode. He's like, it starts off with him in like therapy. Like I imagine if you're a kid, you're just like, what the fuck? Like 12 years old, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, the first time I tried to watch Sopranos, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't get it. Yeah. It was just like later on. Wait, when did like Steve Buscemi start getting involved with the show? Because he directed like was it like the Pine Barrens episode, but then he didn't appear on the show until like a whole season later, something like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
don't
he
know.
was friends with David Chase, who like created the show, but he, yeah, I don't know. I just remember him kind of being around. He was great, man. He was such a fucking nice guy, and he's one of those guys too, where you're like, dude, you're fucking super famous. Like you forget because he was like a voluntary
He was a
firefighter.
fireman,
Like
yeah.
like he's like the most regular fucking dude ever. But he's also like great director, great actor, just nice guy. Like
Bro, and then to think he was doing all that, and then like in his free time, or when I don't know how his time works, right? But and then he's also doing gigs like what is it on Big Daddy when he's the homeless guy? He's just like sausage McMuffin.
yeah. He what in acting? What do they call that? Range.
Range, yeah, this guy has
Yeah.
range.
He's fucking Tony Soprano's cousin, but then he's also the homeless guy in
That's
in
fucking
Big Daddy.
That's fucking shout out to Steve Buscemi, man.
Yeah.
He's one of the best. I remember seeing.
We tried to get him for this episode, but they were like, "We could get you the kid." We're like,
Sorry. Oh, I remember seeing him in like Armageddon back in the day. Remember that movie Armageddon? And I remember that was like Ben Affleck, Bruce Willis, whoever. And I remember coming out of that theater and being like, "Yo, who's that guy? Like, who's the fucking Steve Buscemi guy?" And the same thing, Con Air. Remember Con Air?
Bro, he was like the supposed pedophile.
Yeah.
Bro, he was scaring me.
Yeah, he's fucking
He's scaring me. He
good.
was sitting down with the little girl, just like asking her questions and stuff. I
Yeah.
was like, please don't touch her, Steve. Please don't. He was-
Yeah. He's a fucking, he's a great actor. He's allowed to talk about his process, you know?
yeah.
He could talk about his
Yeah.
process. But guys like me, you just can't, you know?
I feel you,
So I
man.
just show up and I got paid.
Yeah, you just do. You
Listen.
got the main thing. I remember being like, I have to know my lines because like I can't act as good as these guys. Like Tony Soprano, the guy who played Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini, to me is like one of the greatest actors of all time. Him, Edie Falco. So I know I'm like, even if I do good, I'm not gonna come close to these guys. So I just have to fucking know my lines. So I would just sit there and fucking read them over and over and over to make sure like.
Have you ever had like friends who are not actors or not entertainers? You know what I mean? Have you ever had friends try to pressure you into using like the I'm AJ Soprano on the Sopranos card, like to get in places? They're like, dude, tell them you're on Sopranos. Like, get us in this club or get us in this restaurant.
No, again, like not to sound like, an asshole or whatever, but like at the time Sopranos was so big that like you just go. Like, like you would just walk up to like a restaurant or like a
It's like
club
being a part
and
of
it
the
was like
Beatles.
no, I mean less, but yeah, like people weren't like chasing us down the street, but like if I was waiting at a restaurant in New York City, most of the time they'd be like, "Oh,
Come in.
come on over, like come this way or whatever." Where
Would they
it
try to
wouldn't
joke
be-
with you? Like if a restaurant host sat you down, they're like, tell your father I said hello.
there are still people who like are a little disconnected. They can't like fully understand that you're not. But and it's also even more weird to that like Jamie-Lynn is one of my best friends, so like I'm always out to dinner with her here, and like I see people like they look at us like, what the fuck are you?
You guys related in real life?
Yeah, it's a weird. But again, like when we were in New York back then, fucking 20 years ago, like we all enjoyed hanging out with each other. So we'd be like, it's Friday night, we're done work. What do you want to do? And sometimes we go out and you go to a bar and you this, and you see people's head of like, wait, those, because like seeing one person from your favorite show is like, oh shit. When you see like 12 of them at the bar,
Yeah.
you're probably like, what the fuck? Like, what did I always think, the guy Dave Portnoy who does like pizza reviews
Yeah.
from Barstool. I always see people who are like outside of a pizza place and they're like eating a slice of pizza or whatever, and he comes walking out and he's like, all right, we're here, and like you see them like, wait, I'm at a pizza place and the pizza guy and you're like, you can't even believe. And I think a lot of times, like, because we hung, like when people would meet me, they were just like, oh, whatever. But when you were with like 10 deep of like all the guys from the show, and even people like Tony Sirico and James Gandolfini, they're like, they appear on screen is like bigger than life, like especially like, Tony Sirico played Pauly Walnuts. He even being friends with him for 10 years, when you see him, you'd be like amazed because he would just do shit and say shit where you were like, God, this guy's like so one of a kind. Even like his hair, the way his hair was like silver on the sides and like the black on the top and shit. Like,
The wings.
40 years old. I don't know anyone else like that. You know, when you're like one of a kind and like you're that guy, like he just really, he was like, he was.
You think he knew he was one of a kind?
I think they have to.
I don't know. I think he was more along the lines of like, I'm not doing anything unique. Like, you know, I'm just like, he was a guy who he lived in Brooklyn his whole life. I think he lived with like his mom a lot. He was just like that guy, you know, I'm sure like the same way people probably think it's crazy that like I lived in a 1-bedroom and never owned a car. Like people probably are like, oh my God, this guy's like hair. And sometimes the way he would dress and things he would do is crazy. And he's like, I'm just living my life. Like, you know, he's like, I'm not.
That dude's process was his life.
100, like, you know, I've said this a bunch of times, but it's like, people are always like, I wish I got to meet Tony Soprano. I'm like, yeah, you know, he was a great guy. And, you know, James Gandolfini was a great guy. But when people are like, I wish I got to meet Tony Sirico, I'm like, you did. Like that was, there's no difference between him on the screen and him off the thing. Like he'd say shit and you just fuck. And like, then they would write it into his show. Like we'd be hanging out, you know, you go to like these award shows in LA and you say stuff and he would say something and then fucking, you know, they would just, the next episode, he'd be saying the same shit he was saying at dinner.
My favorite thing about Tony Sirico, about Pauly, was when he would like roast somebody or say a joke, and then he'd look at the person next to him like, "You hear what I told him?"
yeah.
Yeah.
We were at, I forget what, like the SAG Awards, like the SAG. So it's like, you know, I think the way that they kind of list it is kind of fucked up, but I think it's like the Emmys, Golden Globes, and SAG Awards. Like SAG Awards is like the third most important fucking award show for TV. And you're all sitting in this thing and people are like presenting and talking and he just fucking lit up a Marlboro Light. And he just, and you saw like, you're in this beautiful place and everybody's in tuxedos and you just saw a cloud of smoke like coming up from the tables and like security came over and were like, sir, like you can't smoke at this award show. And he's like, huh? Like, and just fucking kept smoking a cigarette. Because he's like, what are you going to do? He's like, you going to tell me to leave? Like, you know, there's nothing. And he would do shit like that all the time. We were at a charity thing in New York City where this woman was on stage telling like a sad story or like, you know, whatever. And he was at a table and he saw someone like 3 tables over, like pouring wine for somebody. And he's like, oh, and he starts yelling at the guy like, oh, and the guy's pouring wine. He doesn't look. So people start looking. He's like, yeah, the guy with the wine. He tells him, so they point him over. He comes over. He doesn't say shit to the guy. He just points at his glass like this. And the guy starts filling it up. And right when it gets like 75% of the way up, he goes like that. And he stops him, and then he just picks up the glass, and then he goes back to watching the woman tell him the sad story. And everybody in the place is just staring at him. And he, like, I don't think he knew the shit he was doing was like
a little out of pocket.
yeah, like crazy. He was just like, you know, to him being at the bar or being at some fucking SAG Awards or being at a charity event, like he's just being him, you know?
You ever thought about doing some shit? Like you ever thought like, fuck it, I can light a cigarette in here. You know?
Yeah. No, I knew I was fucking disposable. You know, I knew they would just fucking get rid. Like I knew big time where it was like, if I start fucking up, like you would hear about, you know, Lindsay Lohan just didn't show up to work. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like if I wasn't showing up to work, I would have been done. Like they would have been like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
I feel like that when I hang out with like rappers. Like we hang out with that Mexican OT a lot. And we'll go out to a restaurant or a bar or something, and he'll just spark up his weed. Not even like a little joint, like a fat eighth of a joint, and he'll just start smoking it. And he'll be like, "You want some?" And I'm like, "I feel like if I hit that, they'll kick me out."
Yeah.
I feel like I'll get kicked out when you won't. You're like
he'll get arrested.
Yeah. You're like a rapper, bro. Like you can fucking you're like, yeah, just doing my thing out here. Like if I do that, they're gonna be like, leave. And I'll be like, all right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Working with these actors for a long time, did you ever pick up like their voices in your head, like impressions?
Like doing impressions of
like,
them?
You can hear, like you can talk like them.
No, not with them. Like the only time I would ever do impressions when I was young was like, I would always do impressions of my friends. Like, you know, like everybody in our crew would be like, oh, like this guy does this. Or like, you know, you talk like him. Or like for some reason, like Saturday Night Live, like you watch Saturday Night Live and like they're doing a character of a character. And like, you know, you could do the character, you know, like a Harry Carey. You're like, I could do that character, but I can't like.
You can't do James.
James, no. I could never do. I don't know. Anybody. It's weird. Like, I've only heard like 3 guys do a Tony Soprano that was like good. where you
Who's
were
one?
like- I can't think of anybody's names, but I've just
I
heard
think
there's guys who do.
Ari Spears did like.
Oh,
an okay
Ari
one.
Spears does a great one. Yeah,
Ari
yeah, yeah.
Spears.
He
He's
did
really.
one.
And then there's another comedian, Joe.
Will Lasso
No.
on
yeah,
Mad TV.
He did Tony, right? But I
Yeah.
don't remember it being like, oh my god, that's Tony. Where like Ari Spears, it's like I think Will Sasso is one of the best, but and I could be wrong. I just don't remember it being like, oh my god, like
I think it's
that's-
crazy how humble you are, bro. Like if I was in your position, I don't care if it's 20, 30 years later, I would have been like, bro, do you know who I played? Do you know that television is the way it is now? Partly because of me. I was part of the
Like my
revolution,
family.
motherfucker. Like
You know what? You know what I always think about is like as we were talking about like actors' egos and shit, and like when you see it when you're in LA. Like in New York, it's not as much, but also just like I play so much poker, and like poker fucking checks your ego all the time. Like some days I'm like, I'm going to play poker, and like I'm gonna fucking fuck somebody. Like I'm gonna fuck somebody up. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna do this, that. And like some fucking drunk idiot like takes all my money, or some like 80-year-old Asian guy who like looks like he's dying, and just like he's like stacking up all of my money, and I'm taking more out of my pocket to put on the table, and you're like, I'm the worst. Like you get all this shit in your head, so it's hard to like. Like I'm always getting checked with poker of like, hey, settle down, like you're, but also like, the fucking no car, 1 bedroom. That was just always my life. Like I go to people's big houses and I'm like, like, I'm not, I don't know. Like I feel good in like a fucking 1 bedroom,
I feel that.
You know who you like kind of remind me of? You're like the Shia LaBeouf to Disney.
Yeah. Shia went a little crazy though. But
Yeah.
Shia, he's a fucking great actor.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is fucking good. But he does some wild shit.
He does.
He does some crazy shit. Shia.
He does Mexican part on what was it? The tax collector?
Accountant? No,
No, the tax collector.
tax collector. Yeah.
His part was so good, but they killed him off too early.
Yeah.
Didn't he get like a real tattoo?
He got a real tattoo, yeah. I feel
That's
like that movie was like a
crazy.
fucking ripoff, bro.
Yeah,
Did you ever watch Tax Collector?
No.
The trailer made it seem
he was
like Shia was this John Wick type character. Like he's the tax collector.
He's not in it a lot?
Nah,
They
bro.
kill him off.
Like in the first third, like the first act of the movie. He's
No.
dead.
Get out of here.
probably like second.
But he barely has any
Too
screen
early.
time. I don't know. And then I don't know who the main dude was. He did a good job, I guess. I
From
don't know. I
watching the
didn't think-
trailer, I thought it was like all Shia.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what they have to do, right? That's how they fucking.
I was so mad at that. Hey, that is
Yeah.
crazy that you bring up Shia though. Like you grew up in this fucking crime show that one of the first shows to show all these murders and
I know what
crazy
you're
shit
gonna
and
say.
boobs and everything, and then you
He
just so
was-
like well-rounded, like calm guy. And Shia grew up like
Even
Stevens.
Yeah.
And now he's like yo, like I've seen some shit.
That you know what I think? Like I've talked about this with Jamie on our podcast all the time, where it's like, well, like when you were like, do you ever get sick of talking about Sopranos? Like it was such a highly regarded thing, and people are always complimenting and this. Where like, I'm sure with Shia I'm sure there were a lot of people who loved even Steven and like Nickelodeon shows, but I'm also there were a lot of people who were like, yeah, it's fucking Nickelodeon, like bullshit, or like when you're 18, 20, 21 and you're like trying to be an adult and people are like, you're that little kid fucking Nickelodeon, whatever, like, and it's other kids. Also, people always talk to me and Jamie and they're like, it must have been hard growing up, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nobody my age watched Sopranos. So it was adults who would be bugging out when they would meet me. And then kids my age would have no fucking clue like who I was because they never ever watched Sopranos. So the first 6 years of Sopranos, like I never had anyone my age. Maybe like one person a year would be like, "Oh, I watched Sopranos." But I would have like 40-year-old moms freaking out, like like in Jersey or like Long Island. Sometimes we would go do like nightclub appearances, and you would see like because in New York City people fucking see celebrities, so they don't get like too crazy. But we would go do like a nightclub in fucking Long Island, and like the last place I think people expect to see a celebrity is like a nightclub in Long Island 20 years ago, so they would like freak out, like that was crazy. But in New York City, like it's rare that people really like make a scene. Like you'll see people are excited, but they don't act like crazy. Where like I remember like fucking Long Island moms being like, "Yo, this person is fucking insane. Like they're crazy."
Bro, be honest. You ever take your Long Island mom home?
Yeah, no, I'm not against. It's all good. I mean, that was those were the days. Yeah, it was fun. But now I'm like fucking, now that I'm sober and everything, I'm like, I'm so away from all that. But yeah, drinking, like, yeah, there were definitely times where I was like, I remember when I was 17, I think maybe 16, like still living with my mom. And I brought home like a 30-year-old, like, and now I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, that's so crazy. But then I was just like, yo, it was like 3 a.m. and I was drunk somewhere and like, we're like, yeah, let's go. And she came back to my place and it was like a little kid's room. Like there were like a baseball fucking trophy like up on from when I was like 12.
Like, it's just like this TV show.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, this chick came back to like. Now I think about it, I'm like, she came back to she was a woman with like a fucking career,
like a mortgage.
Yeah, and she came to a little kid's room. Like that had to be fucked up. I had one of those beds where like you could pull out another bed from underneath.
You were like, you could use this one.
Yeah, I had like a wrestling buddy on my bed. Like, you know what I mean? Like she was probably like, what the fuck am I doing? Like she probably woke up in there and was like, oh my God, like this kid, I had my friends' phone numbers because like back then before like cell phones and shit, you had to write down people's phone numbers, and I had all my friends' phone numbers written down on my floor. Like I just took a marker and I would write my friends' phone numbers down on the floor.
She's like, if you were my son, you'd be so grounded right now.
But that's what's crazy too, is like back then, I feel like if you were going to kind of like, now they say like you ghost somebody or this, but back in the day, like people ghosted each other because it was like, sometimes you hook up with somebody and then you just don't see them again. Where now it's like, you know how to find me, like you piece of shit, where it's like back then it was like, well, we met at a club and like, I didn't get your number. So how would I ever know how to find you? Like we're just out there in the world now.
Yeah.
Where now it's like through social media and fucking cell phones. Like if you don't get somebody's cell phone, you're not texting them 10 minutes after you meet them and this, but back then it was just like, yeah, that you didn't get like this. It wasn't like a responsibility of like not to ghost someone. Like some people just like, it was like, oh no, we just had fun,
Yeah, it's like you meet a girl at a club at your time, and she wanted to get to know you. And she's like, I don't know what this kid is like, and then she had to wait like next week for the tabloid to come out.
Tabloid,
and she's on the picture making out with you. Oh my God,
that
I miss those days. Well.
I think a lot of celebrities who showed up in tabloids put themselves into tabloids.
You think so?
Yeah.
Publicists.
Publicists and shit like that, because who the fuck, like back then when nobody had a camera, like if somebody had one of those big fucking cameras in a bar or a club, like you're going to see that person and be like, yo, what the fuck, they have to use a flash. And now like with a cell phone, anybody could take a picture of you. But back then, like people would call and be like, yeah, people are going to this restaurant. And there would be like, we would go out in New York City, LA, like nobody would ever take pictures of us, follow us this. As soon as we would go to LA and start like grabbing people, like if you were at like the Emmys or some shit, and you would pull other people from other shows to be like, yeah, come on, we're all going to this place. Like then you would see these like camera people outside, because some people just, they wanted that, they wanted to be seen like, oh my God, guess who left this with this? Because it's like, that's, if you equate it now to like followers, if you're somebody who wants followers and you're like, if I make a call and I say, hey, I'm going to this restaurant with a bunch of people and it'll get me 5,000 more followers, why wouldn't I do it? Like, yeah, of course I'll let them know where I'm going. Like, and then they also have the thing, if I have a relationship with you and I'm telling you, hey, this is where we're going, this is where people are going, if anything ever bad comes out about me, you call me and you tell me and you fucking handle it. Like you get rid of it, so they have those relationships with people where like, people on Sopranos in New York, nobody was talking to the fucking tabloids. Nobody was talking to anybody. Like it was just, they were just living their fucking lives.
Nice.
This has been a dope episode, bro.
Thank you so much for having me. We definitely want to have you guys on our podcast whenever you're back in town.
We're
free.
We're here until like
23rd.
Yeah.
Oh, 23rd?
Yeah.
That's a while, right? What's today?
It's like another week or so or something.
Okay,
like
yeah, because Jamie's birthday. We got to have a Jamie off. Who has the better Jamie on their podcast? Me or you?
I don't know. This guy, he's like
I'm Jaime, but Jamie.
That's
He-
all.
he's like
Jaime.
he's like a rare toad, or like a rare frog. Like at first glance, you're like, it's just a frog, you know. But then he has like special abilities, like he can camouflage out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
Just you know,
Nah, your Jamie's better, right?
maybe
Depends who you ask.
Your Jamie has better acting chops,
Mm.
but my Jamie,
I got good acting chops.
Jaime, don't stop. Let me do this.
She's Jaime too. She's Cuban. Some people call her Jaime.
I'm a Cuban.
She's Cuban.
What he's saying is that some people call her Jaime. She's also Jaime.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just
We could
my
have a
name's-
Jaime off.
Well, I
Who's
just
better?
call Jamie because just easier for people to
Out of
like
respect.
a Starbucks, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Jamie, so it's easy. I think I got good acting chops.
Yeah, he'll go by Jamie, or sometimes he'll just straight up say his name is Meadow.
Yeah.
No
Way
man.
easier.
Yeah, we're here to the 23rd. Not here in Austin, but here at home.
We're up the street.
Yeah.
You know.
We
can
would love to
drive
have
down
you
here.
guys on.
I
If you're
can't
ever in
drive.
Dallas, man, let us know. We'll
I'm-
take you out for some food or whatever you want. to
This
do.
is the farthest I've ever been outside of Austin.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
here right now today. Yeah.
Oh crap.
I've never been. I just fucking. When you don't have a car, where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
I just fucking walking everywhere.
Yeah, dude. You
Yeah.
want to come
But I
football
got,
season? I don't know if you watch football, but
Of course.
I don't really watch too
Who's your
much.
team?
But if you want to come to a game or something,
I mean, if I had to pick a team, I picked the Giants, but I just love to gamble. I love fucking. You guys gamble at all? Anything?
oh yeah. I don't
Yeah.
want to say too much on here, but yeah, I think I have a problem.
Really?
Yeah. But I my problem is I'll start thinking that I've like developed like no
The
this'll-
system.
This'll work. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. You always think you got the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the
Somebody
best.
showed me, my buddy Freddie, the YouTube channel Freddie LSX showed me a system on roulette,
It's always bad.
but on the like the electric one, like not the real like where like it's like the one where you sit in front of
Stadium.
the little dome and you just right there pick the number so you can watch all the little progress, and it actually worked
Once.
for the most part. But the only thing about that system was that it takes a long time. Like you win little bits at a time. So I
Yeah.
sat there for 5 hours, but I came up like $1,500.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Like if you're somebody who like drinks and smokes and that you could just sit there for fucking 5 hours getting free drinks, make $1,500. That's great.
It was just like that little dopamine, like where I just like I got addicted to it. Kind of like while
It's
you're
the
watching
greatest.
Instagram reels, but I was just right there, like
There's nothing better. There's nothing better. Like I love betting on football. When you have like a 4-game parlay and the last one is like the night game on a Sunday and you're just watching that to fucking win your parlay. Like I don't know if there's anything to me that's better than
bro, it's fun. And as long as I'm not gambling like life changing amounts where I'm like,
No.
bro, if I lose this,
Yeah, it's got to be the same way. Like the way I used to look at it or still look at it is like, okay, let's say if I go on a date with a girl on a Friday night, right? If I take her to the movies, take her to dinner, so how much am I spending with a girl at a movies if I buy her fucking popcorn and drinks and how much are movie tickets? You said 15?
They're like 15, 20 now.
All right, so let's say 40 and then 40. So let's say I spend $60 just at the movies and then $100 on dinner. That's 160. Or I could stay home Friday night, put $160 on a fucking game, watch the game. I know I'm gonna have fun no matter what. The date could suck. The when I'm gambling, it's gonna be fun no matter what. I bet $160, and then half the time you're gonna win. You're gonna double your money. When you're fucking taking the girl to dinner and a movie, you're never gonna double your money. That
Yeah.
money's just gone.
Oh, that's a good way to think.
So it's but like I'm never like I have friends who lose their fucking rent money gambling, and I'm like, see, I would I
Yeah.
couldn't get ever.
I've only gone that far once.
Yeah,
This is why I think I'm developing a problem though. But we were in Vegas, so everything was just like
yeah. No, Vegas doesn't count. Yeah, Vegas will get you. You got to do it from home. You got to lose your rent money from home to have a problem.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gambling at Caesars, and the thing was that it started when things go well, bro. It's only a bigger drop. Like
Mhm.
we're gambling or you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
Fuck,
I was
we're
at home being safe.
No,
He
he
would've- he
was
would've never
dating
let
some
you.
chick. She sucked.
Shut up.
He went to out of town to go see her. I was like, bro, come to Vegas. And
It was
he-
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Oh damn, she just had a kid. That was you?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah,
Congrats.
we hit. We're hitting. We went and bought cigars. We were walking to that little club in Caesars. I forget what it's called. Like
Oh
Omnia or something like that.
yeah.
So and right before walking in there, they have like the actual roulette tables. We gamble a little bit there. We hit. we go in the club. We got to skip line because we met some pretty girls, and they recognized me. Thankfully, they like Latino comedians. We get in with them. We have this section with them. We're partying. We get out. We stop again at that roulette table. I'm like, fuck it, $1,000 on red. We hit again. So the next day, I feel like
bro, none of this sounds like a problem. I'm just saying.
No, the next
you
day,
don't have a problem. This is fucking great. Keep it up.
The next day, we're gonna leave, but before leaving, we stop at the casino floor again. I start gambling, bro. I'm like cutting into my winnings hard. I'm just like losing. Like Vegas is getting everything back from me. That's where I was like, I think I have a problem because we leave. We didn't check out from the hotel. We just leave for like a day, and then we come back. The only thing on my mind is like, I gotta make it back. I gotta go.
100%.
So like,
yeah,
that's where it start fucking up bad.
it's the bad. But you gotta, like after the Super Bowl, I didn't gamble for like 2 months on sports just because I just wasn't. That's how I know like I don't have a problem with like I know when you're an addict and you've been like really addicted to something, you're like, oh shit, like I could have never stopped Percocet for 2 months, like, or like
Yeah.
fucking anything I was doing back then, like for a day, let alone like 2 months where I'm just like, I'm good. Like I do it because it's a form of entertainment, like that's how I look at it. So it's like, if you have a budget every year for like, I don't like to go on vacations. People like to go on vacations. I don't want to go on vacation. I haven't been on a vacation. I can't even tell you the last time I was like, oh, let me go and fucking do it. Like for what? Like I'm good. I'd rather fucking gamble.
Gambling
Like,
is fucking fun.
it's
Like mini rushes. Just
Yeah.
Like boom, boom. Yeah.
and it's also like I enjoy the research of gambling as much as I enjoy gambling. So I lived in Vegas for a while. So like I got over the like roulette, blackjack, like that kind of stuff. I love listening to like 10 hours of podcasts about football and then putting like a $200 bet on a football game. Like I love it.
What's that movie? Casino?
Yeah.
What is it? What's his name? Sam Rothstein.
Yeah.
Right, Robert De Niro's character, he would study he would find out what do they say? He would find out what type of wood they were bouncing the ball, how different.
Yeah. On the courts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
research.
one of the top movies of all time.
Oh, that movie. That is a badass movie.
So good. It's it's like gun to my head. If I had to pick a favorite movie, it's probably
Casino?
I mean, I love Breakfast Club, which is a very different movie, but I just love that because it's from when I was growing up. But Casino is so fucking good. Pesci's
dope.
I mean, it's insane.
You get to meet him or work with him?
I've seen him at things, but I never like sat down. So I was always the guy who kind of like stayed away from celebrities mostly, unless I was like having a few drinks. I'd be like, what's going on? You want to have a shot? Then most of them were like, get away from me. They'd be like, you're fucking 16 years old. Shut up.
You ever hear the story about Joe Pesci and the Jersey Boys? I think the one of the guys from the Jersey Boys, I don't remember which one, and I might be fucking this up. So look it up if you're watching this. Look it up on your own to get the real
Fact
real
check.
deal story. But one of the guys, like the manager of the Jersey Boys, or like maybe one of the Jersey Boys who was also managing the group. I don't know how it worked. They're from where Pesci's from. Like they all kind of grew up in the same neighborhood or something. And I think one of those guys used to treat Pesci like shit. Like he was an asshole to him, and he thought he was the shit because he's in Jersey Boys, and he's like a dick to Pesci before Pesci had like a career.
Yeah.
Just back in the day type thing. And that guy ends up not really becoming much after Jersey Boys. Like his life kind of goes downhill. But Joe Pesci now is on the up and up. And I think Joe Pesci hires him like as an assistant and like just always gave him a job or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. I might have dreamt that. Look
I
that
think
up.
that's real.
Either way.
I think that's a real story.
I think
though.
we stamp it as real.
I think we just stamp it as real. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a real story.
Well, so this
Don't
pod-
look it up.
Trust Ralph. Oh, well, the name of Joe Pesci, that's just
He's the
he had
best.
to be the best.
Yeah. That
He's
was
the
a real
best.
story, wasn't it too? Casino? Or like
Yeah, right?
real-ish?
It's like, I mean, there's just so it's like every when like a show is good. Like I remember when people say now, like, what show is really good? I think Fargo is fucking. You ever watch Fargo?
Fargo, yeah. I've seen a little bit.
Fargo is so fucking good. But like the second season of Fargo, it was like every character in that movie could have their own. Every character in that show could have their own show. That's when I know like a show is great. Like, and in Casino, everyone in Casino could have could have been a lead in their own movie. Like where you would just watch a movie about this person.
My favorite part is when Joe Pesci beats Don Rickles up with the phone.
Yeah.
And then Don Rickles turns around. He's like, on the ground.
Yeah. Or my favorite is when they meet in the desert. And he pulls up and he's fucking yelling at him, and they're that.
He's like, "You dumb motherfucker."
Yeah, he's like, I get calls from back home saying, "Yeah, I asked you." Oh my god, that is just
Bro,
so.
that's me and Jaime on a daily. That's what people don't see.
You guys should reshoot that like right outside of here.
I'm like, you're only in this because of me, motherfucker.
Yeah. I get calls from the comedy club saying you use my name.
Now I love that shot where you see his car come in De Niro's shades.
Yeah. Oh, just the fucking the clothes in that movie. That's her when she's taking all of his pills and he's like, I take half of one of these. And she's like, fuck you. Like, oh my yo. That shit is that movie, man. It's just so, and Donnie Brasco is one that doesn't get enough love.
Bro, Donnie Brasco's a good one.
Donnie Brasco to me is top 10.
I love how Pacino's asking him for money a bunch in that movie.
Oh.
Right?
So when he gives him the card with the money in it, and then when
He
he's
takes
leaving,
back
he's like,
some of
"Hey, like, yeah, oh my god." I mean, that's like to me, you know, people now they try and make like the big moment in a movie, like the Avengers, and it's like the world exploded, and that where like to me the best movie moments are like hey, here's $100, and be like, hey, you know, I'm on tough time, like
bro, but that's like real shit.
yeah, and it's so good when you just fucking you can create those moments where you're like, oh my god, that's just so perfect, you know?
Yeah, that's in like an authentic moment. Those are like the, I feel like real big movie fans. Those are the scenes that get quoted a lot, like with your boys or like in barbershops and shit like that.
Of course. Yeah,
Right.
like what are these kids going to be quoting 20 years from now? Fucking Avengers?
We quote Avengers.
Yeah, we do.
Do
man.
you?
Yeah.
A little
I've
bit.
never even watched it. I shouldn't shit on it, but
But only like when it's like we're trying to
Captain
be cringe,
America.
right,
or like we're
right.
trying to like
I'm not trying to be cringe. That's pretty cool.
That's his casino.
That's,
It
that's
is.
an Iron Man and Captain America scene, and
Which one?
this is when he's Cap's like, I got no plans tomorrow.
I ain't got no plans tomorrow. Yeah, he does do that one a lot.
Yeah.
Have you seen Casino?
Parts.
Nah, Jaime will fall asleep during like
Cinema.
a Scorsese movie and stuff like that.
The Irishman.
The Irishman was a little long, though. I don't blame you for that. But
Yeah,
the-
Irishman. Yeah,
Scarface.
Casino.
I watched the whole thing.
What about Goodfellas?
I watched that.
Yeah, you can't fall asleep during Goodfellas.
like Goodfellas. I like just telling people all the little movie facts. Like I'm that guy that thinks he's impressing the chick.
yeah.
And I'm like, that's the director's mom, right?
yeah. That's Scorsese's mom behind the counter.
They're
Yeah.
like, who's Scorsese?
Yeah.
Like,
Girls,
which one was
no.
Scorsese again?
Girls don't like to hear that shit. Yeah.
I sometimes I'll sit with like now, bro. If I'm dating a girl, I don't even want to show her movies that I like because I'm like, how many men have showed you this movie? I don't even care what a girl's body count is anymore. I'm like, how many men have you watched Goodfellas with?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
fucking whore. Like,
Yeah. How many guys have you pretended to like Casino with in bed, laying in bed and pretending to? Yeah, it is weird how those movies are like considered like the greatest, and it is such a male thing. Like, you know, like there's very few women who are like, yeah, no, my favorite movie is Casino.
That I met one and I fell in love with her.
Sounds like a great chick.
I didn't. Yeah, she was great. I didn't capitalize. Like I
You didn't consummate the
didn't marry her.
What?
Now she's moved on.
Mm.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we could have worked out. I don't know.
How long ago was that?
The last time that we actually tried to like make something work, was a few months ago. But it was always me. It was always me.
It was always you trying to make it work.
It was always me fucking it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kept turning into like me convincing her, like, nah, I'm for real this time.
How do you fuck shit up?
I won't like the first time we started hanging out, I was like, damn, this chick is cool. Like she's cool as hell. Like I like talking to her a lot. We text a lot, right? We texted a lot before actually like hanging out. Then we hung out and I was like, what do I do now? Do I ask her to be my girlfriend? Like, and I was like, nah, I'm always on the road. She's probably not that interested. She probably talks to a lot of guys anyway. Like I convinced myself, like,
Of course.
nah, whatever. Right? But then later on, I tried talking to her again, and she started talking to like somebody else a little more seriously. So like, all right. And then that didn't work out. So I'm like, hey, like here's my time now, right? And then we hung out again, and then I was like, nah, never mind. Like this is like I went back to the first thing. I was like, I shouldn't, because then I'm gonna like in my mind. Especially at this time, I was so zoned in on just stand up, like just being on the road. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, she's gonna distract me from stand up, and I need to focus on this. Like, I just want my stand up to get better. Like, I'm on the road, like whatever.
Your
And then-
agent's playing subliminal messages when you're on the phone with him about like you can't date anyone, you know, like under the thing. It's like you must be single. Stand up is the key.
Sometimes I think they say stuff to me in reverse. Like sometimes I think they say like you should have a burger, but if you play it in reverse, it's like you should stay single or some shit.
Right. Yeah. It's like the Beatles album. If you play
Yeah,
it in
bro.
reverse. Yeah.
But yeah, so I just kept fucking it up. And this last time, I convinced her. I was like, yo, like, she was talking to somebody else, and I was like, stop talking to that person. Like, just talk to me. Like, I'm for real. Like, and she did, supposedly. Who knows? She might not have, but she did. And then we hung out, met up. And she lives in a different city than I do. And the last night I was in that city, she got kind of like teary-eyed. And we were out all night that night. And like people were taking pictures with me at clubs, and she was getting mad because there was like a lot of girls.
Mm.
And me and my friends were like really fucked up. We ended up like at a Cane's having a food fight while holding like the tequila bottle from the club, like just acting like dumbasses. And she was pissed the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm in my mind, I'm like, dude, she's regretting this. Like she wishes she was still talking to that guy. Like she don't want to cut things out. She's realizing what it's like to really date me right now. Then when we got back to the hotel, she got kind of teary-eyed. And I was like, why are you crying? And she was like, no, it's just you're going to leave tomorrow, and I don't know when I'm going to see you again, you know? And I'm like, nah, you're crying because you want to stay with that guy, right? You don't want to stay with me. And she was like, no, it's not it. It's not it. She's like, I'm just, you know, I'm going to miss you, and I just don't like being alone and stuff. So the next day I was like, I'm never going to talk to her again. I was like, I'm not. I think she wants to be with that guy, and I think she realized what it would be like to date me, and I think she should just date that guy.
But is that what it would be like to date you? Tequila bottles and canes, or that was just like a fucking one-off, you know, little? Is that really what it's like?
It's probably tequila bottles and canes a lot.
Oh yeah, well then good. That's good of you to let her go then.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
I texted
yeah.
her the other day when I was drunk. Not at the Canes though. If I had been at the Canes, I probably would have texted her.
you got to clean the screen from all the food that your buddy's throwing at you.
I texted her. I was like, you know, like hope you're all right. You know, hope you're cool.
It's hard. The last relationship I was in was long distance, and my buddy was like, before, you know, my buddy who's fucking wiser than me was like, you know, long distance is tough, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, like it's great. Like I don't mind not seeing her for a month while she's home, and then seeing her and then not seeing her for a month, because I do my own thing. Like I'll get lost, like with fucking poker and podcasting and this and just being healthy and cooking, and like I could, a month to me is like a day. Like I could fucking burn a month in a day. But what I realized the problem is that time together, because when you're apart, when you are together, it's like you can't do your normal shit because like the time is so valuable. Like if you haven't seen each other in a month and you only have a week together, it's not like, all right, I'm going to go play poker.
Yeah.
But she's like, what do you mean you're going to go play poker? Like she wouldn't even say this, but I know, again, I'm like putting shit in her head. Like you're putting shit in her, where I'm like, well, I know she doesn't want me to go play poker for fucking 12 hours because I'm only here for 6 days. And, you know, so like you get this, like, you sort of feel trapped when you're together, even when it's good. Like you're just like, fuck, I can't leave and go like do my, and then it's like dinner time and I'm like, oh, okay, what do you want to do for dinner? Like everything was like checking it, like being like, okay, what are we going to do for this? Instead of just, we're like, if you're in a relationship or she even lives down the block, it's like, all right, I'm going to play poker tonight. Like I'll see you later. It's like, I thought my friend was saying the time apart would be tough, where I was like, oh no, it's the time together for me that I was struggling with.
Yeah, that you have to become all about them for whatever amount of days you get with them. But that's tough. It's like, bro, like yeah, I missed you, but it's like, what the fuck? I gotta be with you 12 hours straight and like only focus on you. Like that's insane.
Of course,
normal people don't do that. You know what I mean?
No, or like if you didn't see her for a month, then you're with her for the first like 3 hours, then you're on your phone, and then it's like, or you're just gonna be on your phone, you know, like, you know, I'm like looking up fucking lines of like sports betting, like fucking lit. She's like, you're just gonna be, or like even if she doesn't say that, like I feel that, you know, like, oh, I feel like I should be doing some shit, or like when she's coming out to see me, like she didn't know I have a lot of friends in LA. It just became like a whole thing where I was like, man, I didn't think I'd struggle with the time we were together.
A couple times with a girl I dated, I was like, well, just come with me to the things that I do if you want, you know? But even that, like, it becomes like, she's like, wait, where are we going now? Like, I thought we were done. And I'm like,
yeah,
nah, like we ain't done. We got shit to do. But like,
Of course. And then you feel that kind of like thing in the back of your head of like, oh, she's ready to go. So like you're not really.
Or she's like, I'm gonna go back to the hotel. I'll just wait for you there. And I'm like, fuck, it feels horrible. Like, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Of course. That's so. You know what? Like the number one psychopath move is of all time. Like, because I go play poker a lot. There's a poker table, and usually like around poker tables, there's empty poker tables where people aren't sitting. And you'll see like there's some guys who just have their woman come with them when they go play poker and
they
like
just
sit
sit there?
at the table and wait. And I'm like, this guy is just a bad guy.
I'm like, bro,
Like,
let her be free.
let
Like,
her
Yeah.
like that dude is like, yo, if she's at home, who knows what she's like. And these dudes will play for fucking 8 hours and just have a
Sometimes
woman.
it's the girl too, though. Sometimes the girl's like, fuck that.
You're not really going to
I'm
play
not gonna-
poker.
yeah, I'm not gonna let this dude out my sight.
Yeah, that's true. But most of the guys I've ever seen, it's the fucking guy, and it's the craziest move where I'm like, yo,
And then the
what
girl
are
gets
you?
up and they're like not even in the game no more. They're like, where's she going? The fuck
Yeah.
going on?
It's-
Yeah.
Dude, it's bad. When I see that, I'm like, oh, this guy is a fucking whack job. You know, because there's one thing if it's like 2 a.m. and you come back from a club and you're like, babe, I want to go gamble for a minute. But these guys, I'm talking about like lifers in the poker room, you know, like these dudes who are there for fucking 12 hours a day. And you're like, you just got your girl sitting on a table over there. Like, it just feels so like, I like, you know, when you're in a strip club and you see a girl and like you're drunk and you want to like save her. And it feels like that thing. Like, it feels like I want to go over at the poker table and be like, hey, is everything.
Hey, do you want
Like,
to divorce that
do you,
guy?
yeah.
Come
Like,
with
you
me.
need money to get out of that situation, or like, how can I help you feel like bad? You know, where like you said, probably the time she wants to be there, who fucking knows? But I'm just like, man, what a psychopath move. Like, imagine some woman was like, I don't even know what women do with other women for 12 hours. Like, I'm going to play what? Like, what would a woman be going to do?
Book club.
What?
A book club.
So imagine if a woman was like, I'm going to go do a book club at this table over here with my girlfriends for
And I'm
12
just
hours.
sitting
And you
there.
just sat at a table behind her for 12 hours, like looking at her, but having no idea what she was doing or like talking about. Yo, to me, it's one of those things where like, I get distracted from poker because I get so fixated on like the man and woman relationship. Like if they go to talk at all, I'm like so zoomed in on like, what is this? Like, 'cause I could never have a girl come sit for a fucking half hour behind me while I played poker and just be like, yeah, you wait here. Like, I'm just going to do my thing.
I dated one girl and she was cool to go with me to like out of town stuff. But then it kind of goes back to like what you were saying, like when you're like just at home. She was at my house and I wanted her to change I think it was like a hood latch cable to my car. I had this shitty little car and I just wanted to learn how to work on cars. I started practicing on this like a 1996 like Nissan 200. Was it 200 SX, like this little shitty ass car,
Yeah.
and it needed a hood latch. And I was like, she was like, I'll just go with you. And I'm like, I don't really need help though. She's like, no, I'll just watch. And I'm like, no, like don't watch me, bro. Like, cause I'm gonna fuck up a lot. I'm gonna feel like embarrassed. I'm like, bro, like
Yeah.
you just do other shit other time. Like, let me just fucking fix this damn hood latch.
Yeah. You got the fucking the hood open with a laptop watching some guy do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And she's like, you have to watch another man change the hood
She
latch?
got bored though. She got bored and finally went inside. And I was like,
Yeah.
thank God.
Yeah, that's like the old movie shit, right? Like some girls just like watching some guy fix a car in like a wife beater.
Yeah.
Like sitting on the steps. So
If we get along, we're fine. But yeah, I haven't met anybody lately. You dating anybody? You're still single?
no, it's dude. It's
Sorry, I don't know
so-
why I said it like that. It sounded so mean. Like you're
No,
still single, bro?
I'm
Like,
yeah. Well, I'm fucking 40.
me and Jaime are killing it. Like,
It's dude when you're sober. For me, it's tough.
yeah.
That's really fucking tough because I'm like, I want a girl who's sober too, but I also don't want a girl who's like just recently sober and like struggling. Like I feel for her and like I feel bad in this, but I'm on year fucking 12 and like I'm over it. You know, like if I go stay in a hotel and there's fucking liquor in the room, I'm like, I don't fucking care. We're like, there's some people who are like, like
Yeah.
they're very sensitive to shit, and I don't want that around me. So I'm like,
Bro, that's got to be a tough part about where you live, though. This is like a party area.
that's what I'm saying. Austin is like all these girls are just like all their like personality is either traveling or drinking. I don't want to drink. I don't want to travel. I fucking hate traveling. And all these girls, it's like, you better be ready to do. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like every other picture is like Machu Picchu and like this thing. And like, oh, I have a backpack here and look like my face is dirty because I'm hiking. And then I'm like, I just want to be like, I love my crib. I love the way I set it up. Like I'm comfortable here. I don't want to go sleep on some fucking random
The first
bed.
time I hung out with the girl I was telling you about, my lost love, we hung out in San Francisco. And I remember like she don't know my schedule at all, so she don't know that I just sleep all day. So she's like trying to wake me up. She's like, hey, like I was hoping we'd go walk and do this or go on this hike. And I was just like, what the fuck is she talking about? It's like, does
Yeah.
she not know who I am? Like, I was like, girl, I'm going back to bed. Like, you go ahead.
Yeah, or she thinks that she's doing something nice, and at like 9:30 in the morning will wake me up and be like, "I got you a bagel." I'm like, "Whoa,
Bro,
like,
she
what?
yeah, she
Like,
brought
you got me
up-
food? Well, it's gonna be sitting there for 6 hours."
she brought me frozen coffee like at 8, 9 in the morning. But by the
Yeah.
time I saw it, it was all just melted and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, the fuck is that?
Your name's running all down the side. Like, yeah, that they always, bro. I'm like, I don't. But I'm also like, I would never. I've had girls who say like, I don't care because I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. Like, if you want to come, you can. But if not, like, I've got like, I never am like, I really want you to come to this thing with me because I don't like. I don't want to tell a girl like you should come to this thing with me. It's like if you want to come, that's cool. If you don't, like, I understand because I don't like to do shit. So like sometimes I'll say like, yeah, I'm going to this wedding, but like if you don't want to go, you don't have to. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, what I said. Like, like if you don't want to go,
nah,
like
bro.
don't go.
I fuck up worse. I will invite girls to stuff. I'll be like, man, come. You should come to this, right?
Oh no.
And then I'll invite her to like 3, 4 different things. But they'll come a thing like a week later where I'm like, I don't want her to come to this. I was like, but fuck, I've been inviting her all this shit. Like, how do I get her to not come to this? That's when you hurt some feelings.
Yeah, or that you have social media. They see they invite them to 3 things, and the 4th thing you go on your own. They see you're alone on social media, and then you're in trouble.
Somebody
Oh,
will
yeah.
tag me in a story. I'll be like, nah, I'm just not gonna post it. I'm there. I just won't like post anything that I'm there. And then somebody will tag me in a story, and I'll forget, and I'll reshare the story.
100%.
And they're like, what the fuck you doing there? I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
everybody's
yeah."
paparazzi now. Everybody's
Yeah.
a fucking tattletale.
I'm
getting you in
fucking
trouble.
posting my own tabloids and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's tough.
Did your when you started popping off like recently? Did your DMs get a lot more action than they used to?
No.
Yes, Jaime. Yes, they did. Don't lie, bro.
Well, fans, yeah.
I never. Who else, bro?
Scammers.
Why do you think I was talking about scammers?
Well, he's not asking you if scammers are more in your DMs.
You thought I was
now.
talking. Your brain went right to. He's asking me about scammers.
Yeah, there's a bunch of scammers on there. Like,
So
they're like,
they did
some
get bumping with scammers too.
more because they're like
More
they're like,
scammers.
join my live and watch me, play with myself. I don't want that
Have you ever
No.
joined? No.
because I know they're scamming.
But what about not scammers? Have your DMs started? Are there a lot more than there were a year or 2 ago?
Yeah,
Yeah. Any ladies?
no.
Nah, hold on.
I mean, yeah.
Jaime, you're asking Jaime about the only subject that he does not want to talk about on the podcast. Every episode,
I'm
I
good at
struggle
that.
a little bit. Every
Well-
episode, I struggle a little bit with this stuff here.
Uh,
I mean, yeah. Yeah. They're just saying. Yeah. What else do you want me to say? They're just saying, yeah, we love you on Tiger Belly.
You
and all
ever
that.
see like
That's
on
good.
like Law and Order episodes, they're like just like first 48
Yeah.
when they're interrogating and the guy's like, I mean, like I kind of saw, but I didn't really see. Like
yeah.
that guy?
Jaime didn't even want to admit that he had a girlfriend on the podcast until after they broke up.
You know what? That's actually
I didn't
really,
say that.
That's really smart for someone who's just getting famous. Like that's good because you went here. I think talking about like fun and shit and that, but once it gets like serious, I could see not wanting to talk about that. But if you're just like, yeah, there's girls in my DMs who want to hang out, like that's cool, that's fine. But if you're like, because then when you start to have an actual girlfriend, and then they might start wanting to look into her life and this. But if you're just like, yeah, I'm having fun with fucking ladies in my DMs, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
What
You
I started
should.
doing is I just told Jaime to release episodes in random orders, like not in the order that we record them in. That way people don't know when I was single or not.
Oh yeah, that's good. Keep them
then-
guessing.
This is coming out. So
This is coming out May 16th. Nah, I don't know. what the
Should
dates
you
are.
should do like a choose your own adventure podcast.
Yeah.
You know, where they could just start. You give like the first 15 minutes, and then you're like, these next 15 minutes. You know, you. There were books back in the day where you could read like 8 pages, and then it would be like, if you want to enter the door, turn to
yeah.
page 36. If you don't want to enter the door, turn to page 15. You know, so then you could choose your own adventure. That should be your pod.
on if you go down one route, we get to talk about your previous relationship. If we go down the other route, we get to talk about Jaime's whole life.
What's
don't know.
easier for you to talk about, your previous relationship or girls in your DMs?
think what Girls in my DM.
What are you asking me for, bro? I don't know what's easier for you.
Well, nothing's easy, but
Nothing's easy.
It's not
Business.
easy. Talking about girls is
Mm-mm.
tough for you.
yeah,
Why?
I just run bits by them, you know.
You run bits by them,
Yeah,
by girls, the ones in your DMs.
yeah. But hey, you want to listen to a joke that I'm writing right now?
Oh, that's good.
I mean, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you use them
Such a-
as what do you call that when you show like a room full of people your show and you tell them
The
to go like
open mic,
no, but like
like a workshop,
like a consensus group or what, like
Oh,
census, you know,
yeah.
you use them as
Like the
that. You're
marketing
hey.
research?
yeah,
That's what
they're
I do.
trying to get flirty with you, and you're like, I'm going to use you as marketing research. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
That was
I like
fun.
that.
Yeah,
That's a good move. I bet some chicks would like that because they've never had that before. They've never. That's a new. Girls like
Mo-
new stuff.
It's a lot of other girls that are tired of getting shown Goodfellas or in Jaime's DMs, just
yeah.
getting bitch friends by them.
or shown the Avengers.
What's a bit that you've run by some girls that you've gotten good feedback on?
About playing a stepdad.
You playing a stepdad in a movie?
No, just like in real life, as a joke.
Pre-
that what you mean?
You're leaving real memories in a lot of these kids' lives, and so you're like, it's a joke. Get over it, kid. Like,
Oh, you're dating women with
With kids.
kids. Oh,
That's my
wow.
thing.
See, I'm starting to figure you. I'm starting to, I'm starting
Yeah.
to figure it out what you're saying. Okay. All right. And then do you actually like the kids or you're just dealing with them to be with a woman?
I think I'm just. Some of the kids are pretty dope.
Some of the kids, there's been a lot of kids, huh?
Yeah, some
he's
of them.
dated quite a few single moms.
Wow.
But it's kind of like, I don't know if you've dealt with this, but like for us, it's kind of what happens
in our
once
age.
you're like past 24 in the Latino community. You're a step
It
parent.
has to be a stepdad.
You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that makes sense.
a lot of in like I feel like in Mexican culture, it's like we age different. Like once you're 18, like you need to live like you're 28.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you're 18, you're like, might have kids someday soon. Like,
But also the women who have kids are the ones who are like they can't go out at night a lot of the time. So like from 8 p.m. when their kid goes to sleep until they go to bed at midnight, they're just surfing
The internet. Yeah.
Instagram, and then they find you and they're like, "Hey, it's you want to run a joke by me?" And then you get
DM
all
me.
excited. Yeah. When did you start taking that approach? Where did you get that approach from? The run the joke by them approach. That's a good
Ever since the beginning.
right away.
yeah.
You're like, "Hey, what do you
Say, I
think
don't
of
talk
this?
about this. I
What do you
wanna
think of
talk
this
about this."
stepdad bit?"
I like literally the weekend that he first started doing stand up with me on the road. We were in Chicago, and he met a girl out there, and I remember us like eavesdropping on the conversation. We were like being nosy, and he's like, "Yeah, so I think I'm gonna say this on stage," and then like, "What do you think about this?" And the girl's like, "What? Like I just fucking met you. Like I don't know.
You're
I
at the
don't know if
show,
it's
so
gonna
listen
work."
to me. But yeah, that's it.
That's good. You got to see if they handle pressure well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the awkwardness.
It hasn't going. Nah, I don't want to say it. I'll ask Jaime details about real women on the podcast, and he always edits it out.
But then you don't know because you don't listen to them, right? You just
I know how it's going. I just want the listeners to like have a little bit of more dose of Jaime. You know,
yeah.
our listeners love Jaime, which they should.
They
But
love Ryan too.
I think Jaime should be a little more open with our fans.
Would you ever film a date for like your YouTube channel?
Like a date, like
Yeah.
a real date.
Yeah.
Like what's that show? The real on MTV.
You like what? Are you talking about the one where the parents would choose a date?
No, that one. But the other one where like I forgot. They film it like the real world.
Real world?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't dating. That was just like 8 people living in a house.
Oh, was it the one with the dating? It's not
There
that
was a
one.
lot.
dating
There have been a
ones.
lot of dating
Yeah.
shows. Blind Date.
Next was that one?
Next was the
Next was a
bus.
good one.
What is Date Bus? There was
The
one where
ne-
like
that
you
was
get 5
Next.
people on a bus. That was Next.
Should we buy a bus?
Should we do next?
You want to do a bus date show?
Should we do
That
next?
would be great to film it. Like
a
you
sketch?
Find a girl. No, not a sketch. A real date. You get you getting ready, like before the date, and they get you on the date. Maybe you go pick her up at her house or something,
And film it.
and you film. Then you take her to dinner and you film it. Yeah.
That would be great. I have no doubt in my mind that you would still be your like normal weird self.
I bet it would be so
On
good.
camera.
When you date girls, do you make it a point to like not be on your phone, or you're just like, I don't care, I'll be on my phone just as much as when I'm alone?
No, I'll make it. I won't be on the phone.
You
Yeah.
make it a point.
Bro, why are you lying?
I won't.
He'll text us. He'll be like, I'm on a date.
Leave me alone. That's it.
He'll text
But
the group chat.
She doesn't like my new bit.
Yeah, like, bro, yes.
no, I won't. I'm not on the phone a lot when I'm on dates.
Like, yeah, maybe you're right.
If it's
But
going
here and
good,
there.
maybe you're not on your phone a lot. But when it's bad, maybe you fall back to the phone.
Yeah, shorter clips and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
For all you toxic women out there, Jaime falls in love with you the fastest. So if you're looking for a man, Jaime's a good man. He'll treat
That
your
goes for
kids
Rob
right.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rob like toxic.
I do. But not as toxic as yours. Like, remember that time you dated that one chick and then she ghosted you and then she showed up to our show with her new boyfriend?
Oh yeah.
No. She didn't even, and at this, she told,
You gotta come to a show, one of our comedy shows.
Of course.
she told
When we're in Austin.
Jaime,
Yeah.
she was like, they hooked up or whatever, and apparently she told Jaime, like, like
see.
that
Oh yeah, we gotta wrap it up, guys.
she told Jaime not to fall in love with her because she loves somebody else. And then she ended up bringing that guy to the show that Jaime was on.
Why would she do that?
That's crazy, right?
That's crazy.
These are the women that Jaime falls for, though.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Toxic.
Even I don't even fall in love with women that bad, bro.
Anyways, guys, we had we have Robert. How you pronounce your last name?
Iler.
Iler, Iler, right?
Yeah.
Iler. We had Robert Iler here. Anything you want to plug in?
Yeah, is there anything you want to promote? Or
Thanks for
anything?
having. My podcast is called Not Today, Pal, on YMH Network. I just did a show for Tom Segura on Netflix called Bad Thoughts. Came out today. I don't know when this is coming out, but yeah, it came out today.
Well, we like to ask our guests: if there's any piece of advice that you give anybody? It could be stupid shit, or it could be like some real whimsical shit. Any piece of advice to give to anybody, what would it be?
Like,
Any advice? I mean, I don't know. I would say like 15 years ago, I couldn't even get off my couch because my fucking anxiety was so bad. I just wanted to like fucking jump off my terrace. It was crazy. And like I was just taking Xanax and like thought I'd be that way for the rest of my life. So I guess it's like tell people like it doesn't have to be that way. You know, there is a fucking other side to that shit. Because when I was going through it, I thought there was like no end. You know, I thought it was like for the rest of my life, I'm either going to be on Xanax or a drunk or I'm going to be fucking having an anxiety attack. And then now I fucking haven't felt anxiety in like 10 years.
Do you feel like, how do you feel like you got to get past that? Like, did you have to pinpoint where your anxiety was coming from?
Yeah, that. I mean, it was a lot. Like a lot of times when you do this stuff, or like when people are like, "Well, why do you think you were an addict?" or "Why this?" They always want to hear one thing, right? Like one horrible thing, or like one great thing you did. Or when people are like, "How do you lose weight?" They want to hear one thing. The truth is, it's like fucking 10 years of work, where it's like working out, eating super clean, getting bad people out of my life, stopping doing drugs, stop fucking smoking cigarettes, not be like clear all of this shit out. I went to talk to somebody for 3 years, fucking when I was getting sober and just figure my life out and all that stuff. But I mean, a lot of it I think is like fucking diet and exercise and cleaning out your system and
One piece at a time.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Rob Iler, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
we have say the same.
Say what?
Goodbye.
Say goodbye. What?
Like, goodbye.
They don't care about that one. They don't
Yeah, they
care about
do.
the intro. You do that one.
Okay, well, I don't want to do it by myself.
I don't
Run it
think-
by a girl in your DMs. How we should close it.
I have
Yeah.
to close the show.
Yeah.
Just say, goodbye.
Will you do it with us, Rob?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, ready?
1, 2, 3.
3. Goodbye. This has been an episode of FatFish Podcast, sponsored.
Sponsored by, I don't know who sponsors this episode, but I'm sure you saw.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.